The root of nearly all, if not all of our problems is a lack of love and connection.
We live in a world of distraction from ourselves. We seek external validation and attention to provide temporary artificial happiness. There's been a loss of connection to ourselves and others.
Connection is taking in the deep, the heavy, the harsh, and the joy and the pleasure and the ecstasy and the bliss that all exist at the same exact time, and they always have. Yet we've gotten on this sort of hamster wheel into this rat race of just wanting to seek the quick highs.
Connection begins within and travels outward. We are all students of life. But how do we deepen that relationship with ourselves? Our purpose? We are restoring connection to humanity and curving the culture back to connection over convenience through a global, safe space, transformational and wellness platform, and eliminating the fear of intimacy and vulnerability.
When we feel that we belong in a community that accepts us, when we are able to share the parts of us that we may feel frightened of, ashamed of, not only healing can happen, but deep transformation. And when we feel deprived of connection to ourselves, to others, and the world around us, we become empty.
XXO is built on 4 values: connection, love, transformation, and magic.
In a world that is more digitally connected than ever before, we are lonelier than we've ever been. According to Harvard Business Review, executives may actually suffer at double the rate as the general public.
We are creating an energetic tidal wave to accelerate human connection and push the human race forward. XXO Connect provides a safe space environment without judgment and with full support, where we're able to take the ego and replace it with humility by turning the distraction back on ourselves.
Connect with us and not have to go through the same things, or be able to understand some of the things that they're going through, or perhaps maybe just connect with somebody in a freer space that they've never been able to connect with before, without judgment, without fear.
I am so excited to have a place where we can build strong relationships built on a safe space where we're free to be our vulnerable true selves. That's how the strongest relationships are made.
Finding the connection deep within, the ability to be vulnerable and intimate with yourself is going to change the entire game for this world. And that's what connection over convenience really brings. And with this platform, not only are we going to be teaching young, children to teenagers how to have that emotional depth, how to begin with themselves.
We are providing an educational video library of master classes by our visionary team. You will have our team doing lives. You will have one-on-one conversation to experience vulnerability and intimacy in a safe environment. And why don't we meet our team? We have Chantel Sumis, Ismini Cole, Leisha Fox, and Walter Thorne. They are the superheroes coming together to fight for connection. I didn't want to hire a team and create connection. I wanted to create a team of higher connection. We will share in subjects like self-love, self-worth, body image, shame, sexual trauma, disabilities, and other subjects. I believe if XXO Connect did not exist, our culture will continue to lose connection with self and each other. Toxicity will continue to rise while self-worth will continue to fall. It will become an artificial world of temporary happiness. Intimacy and vulnerability will become extinct. XXO Connect will be the largest global connection platform to ever exist. We will transform 1 million lives by 2025, and we're just getting started. We are restoring connection to humanity.
And welcome to the XXO 24-hour event. Jason, Thank you so much for doing this and putting this together and bringing this to the community of LinkedIn and everyone around the world. So tell us how you're feeling, man.
I'm actually getting my second win. I'm pretty jacked. I appreciate you hosting us, and I see already some great comments in the community supporting us right now. So I'm pretty pumped about this.
Yeah, it's really a phenomenal thing to actually take something, just a seed of an idea, and nurture it into something real, and take your imagination and build on that. So when did this seed actually take place and start to grow?
4:31 in the morning on a Saturday this past June, and I say that, and I'm completely serious, because you have to clear space to create space, and so hey, Hajar's with us. So I left a 7.5-year relationship, meaning one with the company that was at working in a career, on a Friday, knowing that Saturday I'll wake up at 4 a.m, which is my personal growth time, my personal development time, and I have to go all in on XXO, which was an offline matchmaking service. Woke up Saturday morning at 4 a.m. and I was doing my breathwork meditation, and 4:31 at that time I saw this, and I said a couple of things, which I don't think I can't say here, but I said I was thinking too small, and I was thinking I was thinking reality. I said I don't want to create an offline matchmaking service. I was thinking too small, and this whole thing came to me literally at that time.
Yeah, and I heard this story on Gabriel's show when we first connected, and the thing that I want to express to you is that I have been thinking and concentrating a lot on bigger thoughts. And it's not in an egotistical way, but it's an expansive way. How can I help more people do with what they have and learn and expand their lives, their joy, their happiness, and everything that goes along with that. And that's one of the things that I encourage you and support you in this journey. And for those that don't know, there is a Kickstarter down below. We want to, even if it's just a little bit, every little bit helps, and everybody can contribute to this cause. And it's a great cause, and it's a great momentum going on here. And so hats off to you, Jason, and thanks for setting this up.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, what we'll do is I'll explain what it is, and Walter can kind of talk about the Kickstarter. But we are on a 24-hour live journey, the first ever telethon on LinkedIn, to raise money for XXO Connect platform, which I'll tell you about, and we'll talk about Kickstarter. But what XXO Connect is, it's going to be, while all other platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're all built for connection to others. XXO Connect is built to connection to self first and then others. It's not a social media platform where you have a profile where you're posting or you're putting out content, you're gaining followers. This is more of the personal growth journey. So it's a global safe space, personal growth, transformational and wellness platform built to restore and accelerate connection and eliminate that fear of vulnerability and intimacy. So what that means is it's the journey with yourself. Inside our platform, there'll be transformational, educational videos on all sorts of subjects like self-love, self-worth, forgiveness, body shame, trauma, disability. And then you can have one-on-one videos with other XXO community members in a safe space, free of judgment. So maybe there's something that I want to have a conversation with, and I'm not talking a conversation with, Russ, I like that the pirate picture behind you, but I want to talk about something that I've really experiencing that maybe I've never shared before, but I know we're all there for this personal growth, and you're not going to judge me. So you are, as an XXO community member, we all of a sudden are paired up in this one-on-one video where we get to share in these deep conversations to break that fear of vulnerability. We're able to record that if we so choose, and almost to create our own podcast within the XXO network. Other members are able to watch this and really learn about us, but also really learning about themselves.
Yeah.
We'll have live masterclasses. And then we're going to create a whole kids network on these types of subjects, how kids consume content, which is cartoon. So kids today, they base their value or their worth based on how many likes they get, how many followers they have, how many followers others have, how much attention they get from others. We're going to change that conversation.
I want to play something here and talk about the kids. You did a great promo for this, and I want to put it out there so people can understand and relate to this, Jason.
Absolutely.
So hang tight.
Thank you.
Join our XXO Kids Network that promotes healthy thoughts, feelings, and relationships for children, talking about self-love, self-worth, and just loving yourself by building that confidence.
I wonder how many likes this picture will get. Only 4 likes? No one likes me.
Your worth is not based on likes.
You are just really special. In fact, it makes you a superhero.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I love the idea and the concept of having a safe space where I can actually have a conversation with somebody that's not going to, impair or judge me or measure my outcome or, really stifle my ideas and my, any kind of challenges that I might have. And that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, it is, because a lot of us fear, we have shame, and we fear if we're exposed of who we are, we'll be judged for it. But that's the beauty of it, is we all have that story, whatever that story is in our past. And to be able to, this is really like a training ground for connection, because to me, connection begins within and travels outward. So we're really turning this around. We're not seeking that external validation, attention, but really working on doing the inner work. And so with all of that and all those features, we're also not only creating the safe space to have those types of conversations and go through your transformation, but we're actually creating a safe space for your personal information as well. There's not the typical Google or Facebook login like there is for all of the platforms, because then they have your information. And so that left us in an interesting place, because we didn't want to compromise the integrity of this platform and purpose of what we were trying to accomplish. And so that left off the table of option of going to investors, VC, venture capitalists, to build out this platform. And so we decided Kickstarter was a great way to have our community support and back us and build this out together with us. And that's why we're doing this today with Kickstarter, is having people that are joining us today, if this does resonate with you, to go to the Kickstarter and to pledge. It only takes 3 minutes. There's some amazing rewards for you, which Walter will talk about, but to build this platform with us.
Well, and I don't say if you're, I say go there now and sign up, donate what you can, and support this cause, because it's a great cause. It's, I have seen nothing but things going up as it relates to suicide. Self-awareness is, so important and so critical for the mental health issues. 2020 has not been a kind year for many of us. And, it's important for us to serve and support something that's good. Jason, I want to bring in a couple of people here that we got some people in the wings that are going to kind of add to the conversation if we can.
Sure.
What do you think?
Yeah, I just want and then I just want Walter to kind of go through a little more about the Kickstarter as well.
Yeah, bring them in.
Let's do it.
Yeah, bring them in.
All right, cool. Boom. So we
right.
Can everybody hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
Steve?
Yep.
Good.
Yep, I'm here.
Isaac, you here? So Jason, you wanted to have Walter talk a little bit about the idea of the Kickstarter and what it entails and what we can expect.
Yeah, and thanks for having us here, Russ, and Steve, thanks for joining us. You asked Jason how this kind of got started, and he started with "I had a dream" and downloaded. And as he was talking to me, I'm like, okay, wait, what's going on here? He has a dream, and I'm going to join something from a dream. And but as he started talking about it, it really brought us to where we are today. And the Kickstarter, as he said earlier, is just the way that we want to introduce this to the community, as the community backs us and kind of validates us. And there's different levels of this Kickstarter program. When you go to the page, you'll see some different levels and then different rewards to that level. So like you said, every little bit helps. The first reward level is $25. The platform itself is $39.99 as a subscription based to hold the integrity and of the platform. And so a 1 month, a $25 pledge is a 1 month membership. So you save $14 on that. If you go up to $100, it's 4 months membership access where you would save $56. So we're trying to give you back, some money for helping us out. And to go to $250, which we only have a limited amount of these left, it's 12 months membership access, a personalized thank you card mailed to your home, a XXO t-shirt, and a savings of $235 for that 1 year of that membership. So that's the best bang for your buck on the first few tiers. You're actually getting a year's worth of membership for about $15.
So for about $15, I can save a lot on my therapy.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. And ice cream and shopping too, depending on what kind of therapy you do.
And I have to share this story because I've lost a son to suicide. I lost my dad this year. I broke my hip right after his service. I'm caring for my mom, and my sister and I work this process, and we support a lot of different business owners. And I am blessed. I still feel blessed. And I would love to give back to the community and share these kinds of stories, because this is the kind of information that people need to understand that, I've lost my job. I've been unemployed. I've been homeless. I've done all these things, and people can relate to people that are relatable. So I just want to be able to open it up and say, is this going to be a platform that we're going to be able to become acquainted with individuals and learn their stories and understand that they're not alone. This isn't the only person that's had this experience and been, challenged by life. What do you say, Jason?
That's exactly what it is. It's having those deep, vulnerable conversations with others where I know I don't have to fear you judging me. We've created that safe space because the only people that are there in that community are people going through a personal growth transformation. They're there for the same thing. So, and we experienced it earlier with Walter and Michael Ray. They had a very vulnerable conversation together, and I think we were all left in tears. It was a very deep conversation, but those types of conversations where I might be holding shame, but this is going to remove that block. This is going to open up the conversation. It's going to break that fear of vulnerability, intimacy. Does it change after one conversation? No, but this is a platform designed to go through that transformation, being supported by other people that have lived, that had life experience it and experience these types of trauma or just adversities, or just finding that they've lost, finding that worth internally.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people just need to talk. I know Steve Sullivan and I have had conversations. We've been in corporate America, and abandoned by corporate America, and some of the circumstances.
Kick to the curb.
Yeah, and it's like, sometimes you just need to have a conversation. So, Steve, maybe you can share some of the life and the journey that you've experienced.
Okay, before that, I do that, I just want to reach out to the audience and find out if there's anybody still with us. If you're still here, type "I am here."
They are here.
Or if you are listening to this message that Jason and Walter, Alicia are talking about, this great community, type "I need this" in the comments and let us know that they are on the right track to reach out and touch hearts. And special offering here tonight. I don't have a cool hat like Jason, but if anybody gives $50 while I'm still on, I will put on my fundraising red wig for the rest of the show. All right. So thank you guys for having me on.
Kristen Mullins. Hey, Russ. All right. We have a few people in the room. Raquel is in the room. I'm here. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that this is something new and unique. And what Jason is proposing is outside of, big business fundraising, all of that stuff. It's more intimate. It's more personalized, and it needs your support. So this is a fundraiser. Kickstarter, go down below. It's a Kickstarter. So let's make sure that you understand and appreciate all of the time and effort and energy that goes into this. So I just want to hear from, is there anything else we want to add to this conversation, Walter, that we can actually expand on what we're talking about here as far as the Kickstarter and the fundraiser?
Yeah, absolutely. When I listen to, the hosts and Jason talk about the Kickstarter, not the Kickstarter, but the XXO platform, it takes me to a place where I think about the reason why this platform exists. And we talk about free space and we talk about connection to self and the other platforms, how when people are feeling disconnected, they actually will deactivate their accounts. They will actually get away from social media. And this to me is the antithesis of those platforms, to create those relationships for us that you're talking about, to have that free space to be vulnerable. And it's something that I am, personally seeing, especially this year in the wake of, the pandemic, in the wake of political issues, social issues, race issues. Our children are watching, and we're growing up a generation of disconnected people, in my opinion, to where if we can create this connection to self within this platform, it will actually permeate through our, through a global platform. We've been on with India, I think Australia, France. So we've had quite a few guests on that. Even in their own countries, they're talking about the same thing. So thanks for that question. I think that's really important.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. And I can't stress enough how important it is to actually feel the connection,
yes,
actually appreciate the connection, and feel, a little bit more aware of what our surroundings are and what we're doing in our own lives. Because self-awareness is one of the most powerful things you can appreciate and expand on and learn from. Is who am I without my job? Who am I without my life? Who am I without the things around me? I am not those things. I am someone, and I need to understand who that someone is. And so is this group going to be able to foster that and expand on those intellectual conversations that we always have in our head?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, we've witnessed it already 10, 15, 20 times today, since we've been on this, where there's been exactly what you're talking about, Russ, and exactly, just the if you could take what you think we're missing and put it into a platform, this is what it would be, for relationships. And even in a sales world, relationship is, people are buying you these days. So when I think about connection to self and other relationships, it's important that we even know who we are. And I think we've lost that.
We have lost that. And it's typically because we have a phone in front of us 24/7. And I go through this conversation all the time because I've been in technology since 92. I've been in advertising since 85. So this is not a new story for my life. However, I always have to go through and examine this conversation of, if I wasn't doing what I enjoy, which is social media, digital marketing and media and content creation, what would I be doing? And it's like, I grew up a musician, so I would probably be playing music. I'd probably be out on the corner beating the drum or something, and thinking, where's my next meal going to come from? I don't know. Hard to say. However, I think that's a conversation each of us has to have with ourselves. And so thank you for putting this together. I really appreciate it. So,
hey, did Travis come through with his pledge? All right.
He did. Yep. I was going to say, Travis, thank you so much.
See if I can figure out how this goes. All I know
while Steve's
Alicia, I don't know how you ladies do this, because it falls down your eyes and it's like murder. There we go.
Fantastic.
That's the best I can do. I can't talk now because the hair's in my mouth. But anyway, for you guys, I'll put on my red wig. This goes back to earlier in the year when I did some fundraising for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, for which I'm a survivor. And the red wig represents blood cancer, obviously. And so I wore that to draw attention to that cause. And I'm glad to be here tonight and draw attention to your cause, because I think you guys have really hit upon something that I have seen in the last several months, going back pretty much to the George Floyd situation, where the country turned into so much unrest.
Yeah.
I reached out to my friend Karen Markle, who's also an African-American, beautiful woman, to talk to her, to say, okay, here's what I'm seeing. Help me see another perspective of what's going on. And we had a really honest and good conversation. And within that conversation, we both agreed that there was a lot of negativity going on, and that it might behoove us to do a call, what we call the positivity chat, to bring people together to talk about positive things that are going on that might encourage people. And so we started weekly calls that we've done for since June. And those calls have been deep, honest conversations. They've touched upon different themes, from race to toxic relationships to COVID to death. Karen and I have been surprised sometimes at the depth that people have come out and shared their hearts. But they've always told us that we've created that environment of trust. And although there's usually a number of people on the call, we average about 10 people a session, somewhere up to 20. And most of these are recognized, well-known content creators on LinkedIn. And we have some of the best, rich, deep conversations around these topics. And where people pour out their heart, there is that support that comes around them from the rest of the people in the conversation, in the call. And people tell us afterwards that they feel energized, that they feel positive after leaving those types of calls. And so I'm hopeful that as you connect those people together and they have those conversations, they'll find that encouragement, that support to bring about positive change in their lives.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's where all the juice is. And within that safe space, it's almost like your what do you call it?
Positivity chats.
Positivity. That I love that. That's kind of the skin around the plum. The juice is all on the inside there. And there used to be a saying: the darker the berry, the sweet of the juice. And the skin on the outside, as that got dark, you just knew that was the right one to go to. And for full disclosure, that's how I met Jason. I was actually, there was a LinkedIn local with a white friend of mine. I call her my sister from another mister. I know it doesn't make any sense, but, it does for us. And, she said, look, I've got this platform. And we're feeling these things. And she goes, can we have an unfiltered conversation about race? She goes, we'll get some questions. I say, I tell you what, I'll show up and they can ask whatever they want. And I'm telling you, we went, Jason, you were on that call. It was a good call. But what was interesting to me is we were talking about things that would normally rip relationships apart. And because there was a safe environment, a safe place, we got deep into some subject matters that made people that felt differently before the call go home and have a different conversation when they got home at the dinner table. And it was very fruitful.
Yeah, I know Karen really helped educate me because, I grew up a white man in a very rural ethnic group or a very white-oriented city. And I could say I never feared going outside because of the color of my skin.
Yep.
And when my black brothers tell me, hey, Steve, I'm sometimes afraid to go out because of the color of my skin. That is an eye opener for me, something that I haven't experienced, I'm not aware of, but I appreciate their willingness to be honest, to say that so that I can learn from them and understand their experience of the world, because we all have unique experiences in this world. And the best thing we can do is show each other the respect and kindness and love to embrace those together and to help each other grow from them.
I totally agree with you. And that's really, Russ, what this platform is going to be about, creating that space and taking all these things that are happening organically that you would think doesn't even exist. Sometimes I listen to CNN and then I'll go over to Fox, and then I'll go to CNN, I'll go over to Fox, and I don't even know if I'm in the United States. I mean, I'm so confused on the same exact news story with two different reporters with two different agendas, and I don't really know where I'm at. Where do we fit into those two agendas? And the one thing I liked about XXO Connect, when Jason was explaining it, is there's no agenda. And you can get there, you can be your authentic self, you can hold space for somebody else. You get a deeper connection, and what you're talking about on your calls there, Steve, is just that deeper connection.
Well, and the other thing, Walter, that triggers a thought that I had earlier when Steve was talking was the idea that we don't know where to go get the information. We don't know what the source of truth is. And really, like Jason has said before, the source of truth is within us. The source of our reality is within us. And that's where we have to dig deep and dive in and understand what that looks like and who we need to be the better person tomorrow than we were yesterday. So I just really want to make sure that everybody's contributing, and the Kickstarter is right down below. So I want to make sure that everybody's aware that this is a fundraiser. We are doing this. We are contributing our time and effort and energy to this to make sure that you have an opportunity to share this commitment to be a part of a better future. So thank you, Walter, for explaining that and paying attention to what we're doing around here. So anything else? Other thoughts? You've been kind of...
I would like to bring Leisha into
this. Yeah, I was
this.
just going to say, Leisha.
because I think she's going to be signing off soon and getting some rest and you know, she's been with us from the very beginning, but you know, I'm actually trying to get rid of her here so we have a male dominated discussion, because it's normally the other way around. You know, we have you know, 3 or 4 or 5 women on, and so we can have a real good male conversation. It's going to be part of the XXO community, but trying to bring her in and try to get her to go to bed. So Alicia, go ahead.
Walter, I love it. Steve, thank you so much for sharing, and Russ for having us on. Yeah, Travis. I think all of this is we are all like such troopers, and for everyone who's up right now, I am not a night owl, so I start to get kind of staring at the screen. Some people are like really good night people. I was that 21-year-old who they took me out to a club. I was living in Los Angeles, and I was just sitting there like it's 10 o'clock and I was ready to go. I've always been a baby grandma. It's just how I am. And I'm okay with that. I own it. But I love what Steve was saying, and to just kind of reflect that is we really need safe spaces. And that's what the XXO community is all about. We require that opportunity. And like Russ was saying, to be able to dive as deep as we would like to. Right. And I think that's what's beautiful about thank you, Krista. That's what's so beautiful about this app and this platform as it gets built out, and as we're getting feedback from the community, which has been rad this whole day, is we're starting to see that everyone's going to be on their own journey, and having that sort of availability to decide, do I want to explore a little bit more along the spirituality? Do I want to have the one-on-one conversations? You'll have access to all of that. And sometimes, I know for me, I've studied religions all around the world with shamans and medicine people, and from each and every one, I found a common thread of just a lot of times it takes us into suffering to finally surrender. And I really hope, and this is something that's kind of come up for me through these conversations, is I hope that we get to a point as a species in our own evolution that we don't have to suffer all the way to surrender, that we start to really release into trusting the universe so deeply, or what the God of your understanding, whatever that may be, the essence within you that you feel, that seed of greatness that you experience, that we start trusting that deeper and start having those conversations that are so exciting. Like all day we've been having it. It's been so beautiful to hear, like Russ, you sharing about the adversity you've gone through, and now Steve, I'm just like, I love all of you for being here today, for being so strong. So thank you.
And it's you know, we've had internal conversations, Steve, like you, since probably May or June, before we actually brought this to the community. And it's an interesting concept that I'm about to say is about the platform. I actually started to understand so I have 3 daughters, and they're from the age of 13 to 22. And I actually started understanding my daughters more by listening to Alicia and Chantel talk about their journeys. And it was a very interesting thing because, you know, the women in my life that are responsible for my daughters don't have the same journey that Alicia did or that Chantel did. And I was able to tap from their journeys and be able to, you know, connect some dots that I didn't quite understand prior to talking to them. And I believe that the XXO community will start to tap into those things in this safe space through sharing their own journey. There will be some magic that'll happen in people's lives outside of the platform that will bring people back into the platform. So, you know, kudos to you, Alicia. You know how I feel, and I just appreciate you being vulnerable about yourself.
Hey, Alicia, before you go, it is good to meet you. I spent a year in El Dorado before my family moved to Wichita. So I know that area. I've spent many days sailing on Lake El Dorado.
Yeah.
So
are you in Wichita right now?
No, once I graduated from high school, I went to Chicago for college, and I've stayed for pretty much the last 40 years here in Chicago.
Okay.
But I do get home down to Wichita as often as I can.
Oh, so rad. I'm glad that we have that connection.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is the first time I've met you, Alicia. So actually, I hadn't been on camera with you, so it's good to connect. And one of the things that you said, made me think of an idea that we're all connected, but we're not all having conversations. So it's really, this is a platform that allows conversations to take place. And if you pull a thread long enough, we are all connected. Ultimately, we're all connected. We have something that we have, just like you experienced with Steve, living in the same location and having the same experience. It's one of those life experiences that we all, if you have a long enough conversation, you'll discover something in common with anyone. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Hey,
So-
guys, I want to add something before you kick me out.
Okay.
On your Connect for Children. I'm a father of 4 growing kids now. My youngest is a junior in college. But one of the things that I do is I'm a UMAP coach, which means I look at strengths, values, skills, and personality to help people understand themselves, what makes them unique, what makes them special. And Christian Cherry, who's the author of that discovery process, has just written a book for children called You've Got Gifts. And it's all about how children can go through that book and see the strengths that they have, and that the parents can have conversations with their children about the strengths that they have. And why is this important? I'll tell you why. A lot of children have strengths that get snuffed out by their parents or by their family. I know of a woman who has the communication strength, but from her youngest days, she was told, you talk too much, you talk too much. And so she shut down and stopped talking. So instead of having parents that said, oh, wow, our daughter or son has communications, how can we help nurture that? They just tried to push it aside because it was foreign to them, because parents often have different strengths than their children have. And so, if you're a big achiever and you got a son who's adaptable, he's not going to operate at the same level that you do as an achiever. He's going to be one of these people who goes with the flow, who could quickly move and maneuver, the kind of skill that a lot of leaders today need to have. And so that skill, if cultivated right in a child, could help them become a great leader one day. But if they get snuffed out because you're not doing enough, you're not accomplishing enough, you're no good, based on your standard of what you think they should be doing, you will handicap your children. So I encourage you, bring that into your curriculum so the children can see what their strengths are, because as they recognize those strengths, as parents recognize what those strengths are, the children can gain that self-confidence to say, wow, that's why I like to talk, or that's why I like to, why I'm competitive and I do sports.
Well, and I would anticipate, Steve, that, and thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the wig to draw in one more contribution to the XXO community and the efforts that Jason and everybody is supporting today. I thank you for being here, and thank you. It's good to see you again, as always, and I appreciate that. I know that we have a few other people coming into the room. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to have some conversations and
well, you've got Falguni coming up, right?
Yes, we got to do our intro here. We're going to do the guest. Boom, we're back. And I just want to welcome another fresh face in the community, bringing some life to the party. So thank you for being here. So tell us a little bit about you and yourself and how you got involved in this crazy crew in a 24-hour sprint.
Hey, Russ. First of all, it's good to see you all, talk to you all. It's just been amazing. I've been following bits and pieces about this whole event all throughout the day, and I'm so glad to be here. So thank you for having me. My dear friend Gabriel, he was the one who invited me to the party. So here I am. I am a transformation coach, and I am also friends with a lot of you all here that have been sharing some valuable nuggets. I feel like I belong here in this community just because I think you're talking about connectedness, which is my number one strength, and which is something that I totally believe in and live by. So I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. And I just really appreciate the fact that you're here. And Gabriel has been awesome. He helped Jason organize and orchestrate this, if my understanding is correct, and Jason can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think he's been in the back office working on some things, because that's where I got connected with. So it's like, Gabriel, hats off to you. As you see, hats off. And I just want to applaud everyone for the time and effort and energy that you got into this. And it's been a long haul. And I'm working hard to keep the energy up, because I know you guys are kind of like the second dip. You know, we're going through this process, and anybody who's stayed up for an extended period of time, I think my record's like 48 hours, and I don't recommend it. However, if you're here and you're involved and you're engaged, I just want you to know that you can actually contribute to the Kickstarter campaign, kickstarter.com/projects XXO Connect /XXO, and just the link is down below. You can pick it up and you can carry it away, and you can put it in a browser, and you can pay today. So boom, there you go. What am I missing? What am I missing, folks? Jason, what's next? You gonna?
Yeah, well, I would say what's next is that what's next is to make this platform come alive, and it happens through all the pledges that we're from our community supporting us through the Kickstarter page in order to take this platform of everything we talked about, actually have it developed and bring it to life.
Absolutely. I know that there's a few other people that I want to bring into the room. We've got some people that have been standing by patiently. Why don't I bring them in, and we can do a round table and a conversation and extend the energy and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to share their gifts, their message, their understanding of what's going on. So I want to play this one more time and bring people into the room. Make sure that you're I just got to give Gabriel a shout out for the groovy tracks. It sounds like some good lounge music there. So we have Nancy and Coach David in the room joining us again. So it's like, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, Nancy, and how you got involved in this crazy crew.
Well, I was drawn to it. So let's say about 3 weeks ago, my best friend, Raquel Boris, sort of kicked me into play. We changed our relationship from not just personal to professional, and she's encouraged me, get on LinkedIn, go, start developing. This is your purpose. This is your path. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, and I'm doing this. If you would have told me, I'd laugh. But hooked up with Coach Purdue and working with Way Beyond Measure and just bringing that voice to schools. My background is I'm a speech language pathologist. I've worked in education, public education for 20 years. And today, listening to everything, what kept coming to mind was taboo won't do. Like, this can't be our standard. We can't be afraid to have these conversations with our kids because we're killing them. We're, literally sometimes we're killing them because there's no place for it. And so, part of Way Beyond Measure is bringing people who have their stories to schools and other places to tell their story and to say, hey, we can talk about this. I had a really interesting conversation with a friend just 2 days ago where she got a call from school, and these are the things that kill me being in education and just as a human. She got a call from school that her daughter was talking about how two women can have a baby. You don't need a man. And so what's the school's reaction? The school's reaction is to call my friend and say, hey, I've got to have this weird conversation with you, but can you please talk to Cassie and tell her, like, she can't talk about that at school. I don't understand. Why are we taking this wonderful job of parenting and telling her it's not okay? Telling her this is not something we talk about, instead of telling everyone else, hey, get comfortable with uncomfortable, have conversations with your kids, take this out of the dark. My personal story, I've had a journey. I had early childhood trauma. I had an eating disorder and, went through a divorce. And even my best friends, Raquel Boris, like, I cried to her one day telling her I was failing at divorce because everybody I knew did it more gracefully and was doing better with it. And come to find out, that's not at all true. Come on. That we were all going out there with that great face, but we're not being real. And this idea of connection within ourselves and with others, it resonates so deeply with me. And I'm ready. I've always had this voice inside of me that share your story. No word is void. And because I've had the experiences, I can have those hard, uncomfortable conversations, and I can receive really non-judgmentally and just sit and be with, not fix, not quiet, just sit and be with. And so I love XXO. The second I heard of it, it was just like, yes. And, I was on this morning listening to everyone, super energized. And then Way Beyond Measure gives me this combination of telling my story and my love of, schools and education and mental health awareness and strength and, all these amazing things that, we're testing kids, we're not making humans. And so it gives me a place for everything. And I feel really grateful to be so present and awake and like the abundance be here knocking on my door and be able to really be present with it and see it happen. It's been just amazing, amazing, amazing to me. And again, like 3 weeks and here I am. No word is void. I'm sharing my story. I'm doing it.
Boom.
So thank you.
Well, thank you, Nancy, for sharing that little inspiration into some of the things that are going on in the educational system. And I want to ask Jason how the strategy is going to be in place or is in place of how contributors can actually be involved and engage. For those that are unfamiliar with the platform, they want to contribute, they need a little more information. How is the process going to take? Because you have a lot of people here right now that I think would be contributors and could start a very deep conversation, meaningful conversation. So walk us through that process and let us kind of inside the inside before they buy.
Are you asking contributors to create inside the platform? Are you asking about contributors to pledge to support the project?
I'm asking about contributors that are having conversations after they pay and they get involved and they get engaged in the XXO platform. What's on the other side once they venture down that path? Connection. What's the experience like?
It's connection to self. To experience that it's doing that deep inner work, going through transformation to find that deep connection to yourself. Because once you have connection, begins within and travels outward. Once you have that connection to yourself, and then you're able to have that connection with others. It doesn't work the other way around. It doesn't work by seeking that external validation and attention to provide that temporary happiness. Well, that's what it does, is provide a temporary happiness.
Hey, wait, Jason, we got some more likes here. Everybody excited?
Yeah. So what this does is it allows to remove all of those distractions and validation and attention and really spend that time with yourself, getting to know yourself, and others on the platform in the safe space, free of judgment, where really we can go through the journey. We can go through the journey. It's just removing distractions that all other platforms have of seeking it externally.
Fantastic. So Coach David is here patiently awaiting the introduction. So, sir,
Hey guys, what's going on?
In.
You know how hard it is to wait 16 hours to talk? Are you guys insane? Listen, I am stoked. You have no idea that just about a week ago, I get a phone call from Raquel, and Raquel goes, "Yay, get on the thing. You're not on it." And I went, "What?" And they went, "XXO," and I'm in. And so listen, way beyond measure. So I was a teacher for 30 years and a coach. I coached in college. I coached in the NBA. I did all these things, but nothing compares to what I do now. And that is saving kids' lives. What? We get to go into schools and do anti-bullying, suicide awareness. We do mental health, character development. We totally change the dynamics of schools, and we're doing it all over the country. We're in the UK, we're in Canada, we're in the US, but we're not where you are. And so, listen, what you guys are doing is amazing, because I know that when I send kids, see, listen, we do birth to dust. And so we teach people how amazing they are, and we do it in ways that they're all going to get it, from preschool all the way. So our K through 5th grade program, super character dude, Suso, stand up, stand out. What? We are so thrilled. And listen, Russ, Jason, Walter, Steve, Raquel, all you guys are amazing. And you haven't even touched the surface yet. There's so much room in the end. Don't be hurt. There's room in the end. So I wrote a quick thing to Jason. Jason, you're gonna start videos? I'll help you. I'll do it too. Let's do something together and let's change this place, man. I hope you guys are fired up, because it's midnight. Yeah, midnight in Tokyo. And I'm so excited to be part of this platform. Look, I got pickles and I got pickles. Oh, excuse me. I got pickles and Olive with me, and they go with me everywhere I go so that we can help people. Everybody loves puppets. We help people. We grow with them. So with that said, guys, waybeyondmeasure.com. Ready, set, grow. I appreciate you guys very much. Man, we're so stoked and happy. Yeah. Okay. I hope you're all up. Are you up?
We're back on it. We're back on it. So I just want to thank you for that energetic introduction and the attitude that you're bringing to the table. So I want to talk a little bit about the idea that we've all had our experiences, and some,
right.
One of the things that I find myself thinking about a lot is this idea that some of my experience, or all of my experience, allows me to become who I am today, and not all of that experience is positive. However, that still does bring me a new perspective. And so how can we relate that and transfer that information to individuals that may not necessarily have the experience, however they need the lesson? And
I know for me,
yeah.
I was sexually abused from 5 years old to 16, and people hear that, and I know, like, it's so much harder to receive than for me to say. It's been my journey. It's been a part of me. It's been, therapized out of me, and, given me this. But people will say their first question often is, gosh, I mean, would you undo it? Like, if you could undo it, would you? And my answer without hesitation is no, because I don't know who I'd be without it. And I certainly, I have gained skills and knowledge that take other people a lifetime to learn. My ability to connect with people, to have empathy, it's all a part of me, and the good, the bad built resiliency. It built, this place inside of me that's open. That's, I don't know, I can't even describe all the pieces that it brought, but no, I wouldn't undo it because I like who I am.
Come on. That's
I
good.
like who I am.
Yeah.
I think throughout life, as you grow, so everyone asks me, Coach, like they don't ask Coach, they ask my wife, is he always like that? Yes. However, it's not without a cost. I have 6 children and 50 foster kids. I have walked in, I have seen, I've had like sons are not with us no more. And I thought I was doing everything I could. How could you leave us? What was it that pushed you to a permanent decision that's something that's temporary? I have a son. I have 2 sons, my sons. One has Asperger's and one has schizophrenia. Why do I do what I do? Because I almost lost them. I'm not going to lose my children, and I'm not going to lose anyone else if I can help it. I'll do whatever you want me to do. You want shaving cream pie? Done. You want slime ball buckets of it? Done. Listen, put me in a park. We'll get people there. The cool thing about what we get to do is when I jump up on a stage or whatever, and we bring people like a Jason and a Russ and a Walter, y'all just say, guys, buckle up. Coach Verdue's about to hit the stage. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Hold your hats. And that's my anointing. I thought it was coaching basketball. I thought it was in the classroom. I thought it was, no, it's me using my voice to tell people you can do it. You can make it. And we all have our struggles. I have Dane Bramage. Listen, I can't do it all. I have ADD and most of the alphabet. It's not, I surround myself with great people. I surround myself with a Nancy, Raquel. I surround myself with Michael Ray. I surround myself with a Walter and a Russ. Because listen, you are not meant to do it alone. Share your heart, share your heart, share your heart. Ready, set, grow, guys. It's a powerful, powerful thing. This, what you have, man, I need all of us to get together so I can explain the power that we have. As long as everybody stays in their lane and doesn't get hurt, there's room. Mm-hmm. Don't be. I'm on at midnight. What? Where are all the kids? Sleeping? That's okay. All day I kept going back, going, oh, this is a great segment. Oh, wow, it happened at 8 a.m. That's not live. And I kept having to look for it. So you guys are amazing. What you're doing, dude, is together. Now, I have tons and tons and tons of mental health videos for children. They're yours. Call me. They're awesome, too. Why? Because I'm in them. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, but you guys, I appreciate y'all very much. I love your wig, man. I love that.
Were you here for the story? Did you catch the story? Did you catch the result of him wearing a wig?
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't hear the story, but I know there's probably something that's very, very powerful.
Well, we received contributions, and as a result of those contributions, Steve put his wig on. So,
wait, Walter, listen to this. He goes, "Did you guys listen?" Walter said, "Show after that introduction that Verdue just did, I'm doing $100 pledge, which means it's $1 a push-up. He wants to do a push-up. Hold Walter to that. You got $100, Walter. Push-ups. Here we go."
You know, there's so many things that we could go and conversations we can have, and the reality is that we all have a story. You know, we all have experience, some better than others, and I just really feel like, you know, right now is the time to start becoming relatable. You know, you're very approachable, you're very easy to access. Everybody here in the room is very easy to access. It seems like it's something that we need to share with others. And I don't know how that takes place, but I know that I will continue to share the message of kindness and, smiles, and, kindness is cool and smiles are free. And that's as a result of some of the challenges that I've had in my life. And it's like, some days are not going to be the great epic, happiness 24 hours that you would imagine they could be. However, it's not the end of the world either. So, like you said, David, exiting for short-term problems is not the answer. And if we can save one person from making a bad decision, that makes it worth it. So,
right. But what is that decision to them at that moment? See, we'll never be able to answer that question. So the thing that I have always done when I have talked to people that said, yes, I have attempted, I said, can you explain to me? And they said it was immediate regret, immediate on 100% of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's got to be something that takes over right now, because if there's an instant regret, it might be too late. So what you guys are doing now, I don't know if you know this, but statistics say that because of what you guys have done today, there's 24, 27, 30 more people going, wait, if they see me and point, if he can do it, then I can. Yes, you can. Russ, I love what you said. Everyone has a story. Hey, can I have some of that, bro? I mean, Russ.
Yeah.
Taking it all, man.
I love
I've been
it.
sneezing all day after I saw you. I can't get it to grow.
It's one of those things that we have to contribute back to society. We have to contribute to. We're all noticing the pain. We're all noticing the problems, and I have to applaud Jason for taking the initiative, waking up at 4:31 and starting the journey to bring this to the table. So if you feel any sense of being moved, any sense of being in part of this journey, click down below on the Kickstarter. Go to kickstarter.com/projects/XXO Connect/XXO and just drop some little contribution and make sure that you're making a difference. Make it matter, because we're all here to make it better, make a difference. And what's your legacy going to be? You binge watched everything on Netflix, or you did something that makes a difference in somebody's life? It's like you all have a choice. So,
right.
Yeah. So back what you believe in and lead by example. Back what you believe in, lead by example.
That's good stuff. I love what you do. I'm just very, very curious. I'm not sure if I can say your name. Is it
Falguni?
Yes. Where are you from? Are you here in the United States now, or?
Yes, I am. I am in California.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I am from India, and so that was going to be part of the story. I was going to share that coming from a foreign country and then settling down here, there were a lot of challenges, and that is the part of the story I was going to share. That we all have different stories, as you were mentioning, Russ, and this has been part of my experience of coming to the United States and really making a life for myself here without knowing anybody here, and then to having this community that I've been able to connect with and build relationships with. It has been an interesting journey, and the part that I'm really very, very passionate about is the self-awareness part. And I hear Jason talk about it all day long, in fact, today. So self-awareness is something that helped me sail through some of the most difficult times when I was in a foreign country, not knowing anybody, being very, very aware of, how I talk differently, how I look different, my thought processes were different, my culture, my preferences, everything was very, very different. And then I had to kind of adjust and make myself I was trying initially when I came in, I was trying to be a clone to anybody who's white or who's an American. Just wanted to be like them so that I can be easily accepted in the society. But then I thought to myself, why would I want to leave my uniqueness? If I have a lot to learn from the Americans here, I also have something to share and contribute. So that was something that I didn't realize for a very long time, and therefore I was just struggling to get external validation, struggling to be part of something when I was unique myself. And that realization of my uniqueness and what I can add to the puzzle was just, it was a game changer. After that, I thought differently, I behaved differently, and I saw that my connections were much more deeper. I was so much more accepted for who I was, rather than trying to be one amongst, one like the other people here. So that's been an interesting journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to imagine, and for anyone that's traveled at all, being in unfamiliar terrain, unfamiliar language, unfamiliar circumstances, and having to adapt and become resilient is not a skill that is necessarily, the first thing you pull out of your toolbox when you're talking about awareness. And it's not necessarily a comfortable place to be. And I think that a lot of people that have been in that situation and understand how they can get through it, I think it still comes down to, like you said, a self-awareness of who I am. I'm perfectly comfortable in my own skin, right, and I'm perfectly accepting of who I am. And I know that I'm good. And, I've learned to, and I've earned these scars, and I exactly who I am. So it's like, wow, I beat this body up myself, so it's okay. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. So I really think that there's probably some conversation that we need to have around the idea that being resilient and not being a victim is a big part of, our self-awareness. I have control over who I am. I have control over what I choose to do. I have control over how I behave. I have a choice about who I hang out with and who I work towards, building conversations and community around. And I think that's something that is a challenge for a lot of individuals. They see somebody's 10-year results and anticipate that that's going to be their next week's outcome. And so we're living in kind of a strange place where there's a lot of challenges with expectations and expectation management and how that impacts the individual. And I'm just wondering if anybody's got any thoughts around that, or suggestions or recommendations.
Certainly, Russ, I do. From the standpoint of coming out of my cancer stuff, or during that battle, I didn't know if I'd live from day to day. I mean, at one point in time, I was given less than 5% chance to be alive in a year. That caused me to say, how can I live the best I can for today? Because that's all I've got. And I developed a mindset called Embrace Today, where I adopted 3 things. One was an awareness of the world around me. What beauty is out there? And to stop and pay attention to it. If it's a flower by the sidewalk or a bird in a tree, to just pay attention to that instead of brushing by them. The second was making memories and creating memories with my friends, my families, those special moments that mean something. And then the third was to make sure that I showed love to those that I cared for, so that they knew that they were loved by me. And if I can do those things each day, I've lived a great day. I don't need tomorrow. Today is good enough.
Be present in the moment.
That's
Absolutely.
Good. That's really good.
Absolutely, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for resilience, also the thing is about being aware that we have the choice. We have the choice to either be a victim or to actually be the person who can be strong and take everything that comes by their stride, just by knowing that they have the choice. Like for me, in my case, I did have a choice of either just succumbing to the pressure that I was feeling, and most of the time it is self-created. It is not enforced by anybody but our own self. So just becoming aware of the fact that half of our reality is created by us. We think that I should be fitting into the society. Now, who decides that? I get to decide that. And that awareness, that ability of choosing, we have that choice every single minute of the day. We can choose to feel how we want to feel, and we can choose to be who we want to be every single part of the day. So just really becoming aware to that, and this is all coming by practice. It will not be like a one aha moment and it won't happen. But it will be like every single day. If we practice that, this is going to be our second nature. This is going to be like an autopilot, right? So creating that, cultivating that habit is something that also we have a choice for. And that's what my key message always is, like, become aware of your choices. It's a superpower that we already have, that we don't really tap into as much as we possibly can.
That's awesome.
When did you decide to give yourself permission to feel that way?
Russ, I was going through a really tough time because it is so taxing to fit into something, to look a certain way, to talk a certain way. I remember in my office, I used to not speak in board meetings, in conferences. I used to not speak at all, not because I did not know what to speak, but because I was so conscious of the accent that I have. And what if I say it in wrong English? Now, English is not my first language. So really, I was so conscious about that fact, and I thought that people would make fun of me. Now, again, this is cultivated and created by me in my own head. Not that anybody would have said anything to me. And even if they were smiling for some reason, I would think that they're mocking at me, they're laughing at me. So this is all something that was self-created. So much to just realize that nobody really cares. And even if they were indeed laughing at me, who cares? Like, I didn't think that the who cares part didn't come to me at that time. So I was really trying to fit in. So I was not getting successful at work only because I was pulling myself back. And with having that potential, I was feeling depressed because I was not able to uh, be myself. And that suffocation was getting on to me. So I hired a meditation teacher, and I started practicing meditation, and that's when I started doing the inner work that Jason's been talking about. And then really doing that work really helped me understand that I had the key all the while. I was just not using it. So that's how I realized.
That's awesome.
Nancy, when did you decide to give yourself permission to be okay and be yourself?
It's sort of a day-to-day decision in a way. I definitely hear the energetic drain to fit in, because my whole world was centered around keeping a secret. So what did I have to be outwardly for no one to look at me carefully? So, president of my class, captain of the volleyball team, no reason to look over here, I'm doing great kind of thing. And so what I was presenting to the world was a very carefully put together play. It was an act. And wow. I think when I started talking about it more, even tonight, I've talked about my abuse and my eating disorder, my depression, but it's the first time I've said it in a forum like this, where there are people I don't know listening, which to me is XXO, right? That's the idea. Is I know from being on all day and looking at the comments, this is a community that's accepting and cheerleading and open and understands. So that helps. But again, I've been held back in that I work in education. I work with kids. There's stigma around being someone who is sexually abused and what they think you're going to do to another child. And it's, I've been part of the problem. I've been part of the problem because I don't want to speak up because of what it might cost me. And I'm sort of done with that. And I think so just even in the last 3 weeks, I've stepped further into being me every day, and that I am making this commitment to maybe be uncomfortable, maybe sacrifice something, knowing that not only is it letting me be who I'm truly meant to be and be happy because I'm not, pretending anything I'm not, but also if I have the opportunity to make someone else feel better, not alone, reach out to someone, have a conversation, whatever that is. I've always had this thing within me that my story is bigger than me, right? It has to have bigger meaning than me. Why was I so lucky to not end up addicted to drugs or promiscuous and just like, I stayed on the path and I did the work? I don't know, but I did, and I'm here. And so again, like you said, like we don't look at the increments. I remember like therapists, like if you told me there's a chocolate cake on an island and I just had to swim to it, well, man, I don't even know the chocolate cake is there. Maybe I don't like this cake, but you want me to jump in with the sharks and swim? That just was like, I needed the steps, and all my role models were people who were doing it so perfectly. Again, even in abuse, depression, eating disorder, but nobody that felt like me, no one that shared the little nitty gritty, ugly stuff of like sitting with your best friend for over 2 hours because your homework was to eat a cookie. And that took you 2 hours in the support of a really loving person to do. You said earlier, Russ, something that resonates with me strongly also is not every day is pretty, not every day is good. And that's my thing. Sometimes you just have to have a day. Don't have a good day, just have a day. Have a day. And listen, they are so many of them are not sexy. They are snotty and they are slugging it out. And that's okay. Like, that's really okay. And I think giving ourselves permission for that and giving other people, like, show up as who you are. Show up wherever you're at, and I will meet you there. And if we could do that for each other, man, like, talk about energy in this universal, if we're all there for each other, what could we do? I mean, the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit. Yeah. And so, I love hearing people's struggles and their perseverance. And I love the energy and feedback that people give. Like, I've been watching all day, people giving love to people who are sharing their stories. That's what we need. Like, it's being human. Being human is connection. Like, what's the point? That's why people are struggling now with COVID. We're missing our connections. Yep. We're missing our connections, and it's not how we're meant to live. We're not supposed to be playing an act. We're not supposed to be separated from people and living in a fishbowl. I used to live in a fishbowl. Like, it's all happening out there, and I'm in this fishbowl, and I don't really feel it, and I'm not really a part of it. But hey, I'm here, right? Which
the pickle can't read the label, right? Mm-hmm. The pickle can't read the label. I'm a little worried about David, though. I'm not sure if he's comfortable with himself yet. So.
Oh yeah, well, we've had lots of long conversations.
And there's probably some work that you need to do, David, and we got a group, XXO. Going to introduce you to a few folks now and make sure that you're connected. Hey, so
I want to bounce off what Steve said, because Steve said something very interesting that I need to learn from him. Listen, don't be afraid to tell somebody. Listen, as a genius as I am, Steve, I want to learn from you. So listen, I mean, here's why. Have you learned to stop to smell the roses? I haven't. So will you teach me? Because I don't want something or a circumstance to hit me in the face to make me stop and smell the roses. No offense to anybody that has had to go through what Steve had to go through, but can I say this? I don't want to have to do that in order for me to smell the rose. So Steve, what does the rose smell like? Will you teach me? It's very simple. That's me being vulnerable and saying, I can't do this on my own, guys.
Yeah.
I explain myself this way. Can you imagine Coach Perdue being a kite without string?
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, to that point, I think it's really sometimes, like Nancy alluded to, is sometimes we're busy being someone else because we don't want to see who we really are.
Why you got to go there?
Because that's where I go.
But the truth is, it says in this really cool book that truth sets you free. The problem is everyone's afraid of the truth. The truth hurts. So when people say, when you come to our elementary school, are you really going to go ahead and talk about bullying? I said, no. But I am going to call them out if they do something. Coach is the only one that can get away with that because I call them out and I point at them. And then I explain it and I tell them how much I love them. We become best friends. Here's the reason is I want to share something with you guys about a character development thing that we have come up with. Why is it that all of us who played in sports, volleyball, basketball, soccer, everything, when you're on the field or on the field of play and everybody's in the stands, do you ever get a whistle and the referee comes walking up to you quietly and goes, dude, you can't do that. But I'm going to keep it quiet. We'll just put the ball down, and then the next team has to kick it. No. Foul on you! You, dude, you're the one that messed up, and you can't. We could do that with a yellow hanky and a whistle, but if we do that in real life, then we're hurting everybody's feelings. Yeah. We got to be able to handle the red hanky or the yellow hanky. The problem is we can't handle the hanky. So I teach teachers to use the hanky in their classroom. It's the most brilliant thing in the world. Their classroom freezes when the red flag is thrown or the yellow flag. Kids are like, was it me? Was it me? Johnny, pick up the yellow flag, Johnny. So Johnny goes and picks up the yellow flag and walks it to the teacher saying, I know exactly what I did. Now, here, Johnny. Okay, I'm sorry, Miss Teacher. Don't tell me you're sorry. Go show that you're sorry. And that one thing, the one hanky move that I share with schools changes the whole dynamics of the classroom. One thing. And that's why I love teaching. And that's why I need Steve.
There you go. So we've made some breakthroughs here. We've had some conversations. You know, I grew up in a little different era. I'm probably a little more veteran than a few of you. You know, I think I was in a fight every single week from the 5th grade till I got in high school. Did not a very diverse, challenging neighborhood, I'll say. And you know, there were times where the teacher would gather all the kids around to see Russ fight with another student. And so, you know, it wasn't necessarily bullying, it was flat out warfare.
Yeah.
And so I sometimes wonder how the pendulum swings so far and how we can find balance in what we do and how we become a little more aware of what needs to be the reality of everybody, you know, because it's my experience is going to be different than anybody else's experience. And I'm like Nancy, I wouldn't give up my life experience for anything. You know, I fell 3 stories off a billboard. One day I was a drummer. The next day I wasn't a drummer with the opportunity to lose my arm. So 2 years of rehab and reconstruction and surgeries, you know, so we have things in our life that take place that may not necessarily be our choice. They may not necessarily something we choose to participate in, but what we do with that experience is who we become. And I think that's really the thread that we want to pull on in order to bring people together. So it's really something that we have to think about and contemplate on and work toward. And it's just, so Jason, thank you so much for putting in the time and effort and energy into doing this. And if people are compelled to support this cause, I just want to let you know that, you know, Kickstarter is here. This is not a angel round funding. This is not something that we're going to be doing on, you know, a small scale. Jason wants to grow this. He wants to grow this big. So I really compel you, anyone that's listening to this today, tomorrow, next week, to actually join in, support the cause, impact lives, and make a difference, because it's important work and it needs to be done. So
that's awesome.
That's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. Jason,
thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can I share one quick story? Is that okay? I know it's almost time, but I'll go 30 seconds, I promise. I want to talk about finishing and getting up. So 1999, I'm coaching football. I got struck by lightning and I died on the football field. I was out. when I did come back and we played the season, people just said, "Why did you?" Because I couldn't tell the kids that we were done. Couldn't tell my team we were going to give up. Yes, we went 0-12 with a margin of 99-0. We got beat by the deaf and blind, beat hard. But the next year we went 13-0, and I became coach of the year, and we won the state title. Dude, those are what dreams are made of. You can't stop. Those kids' lives have always forever been changed. And all I did was tell them, run faster. And they did. You guys, I appreciate you guys very much, man. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I know that there's going to be moments in your future, Jason, that I've been in the startup community for more than a few days, and there are challenging times, and these types of events are challenging in itself. 24 hours to do something is great, and I just want to take a moment and give you a moment of gratitude and appreciation for what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the results that are going to take place as a result of you putting in time and energy. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
So I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to share something that has surprised them during the last 12 hours or since your experience in watching this. Is there been any surprises or any kind of opportunities that you want to comment on?
I've had a couple, actually. First of all, my community on LinkedIn has grown, which is amazing, because I have found since being on LinkedIn, it's like the community is just different from the people I meet in my daily life. And, we're sort of limited by our space lots of times. It's who you come into contact with. So that's been amazing. But I always know I'm not alone, but it's amazingly powerful to see how many people you're in line with, whether it be your experience or your mindset. It's incredibly powerful. And to hear other people's stories and be inspired and learn, like Coach said, learn from people, like really, really learn from one another and being open to that. And personally, I mean, hey, my first LinkedIn Live, I've just, disclosed to everybody part of my traumas. That's sort of a big milestone for me.
Congratulations. And thank you so much for sharing your experience. It's it's a very powerful moment then.
Yeah,
so
it is.
You're doing great, by the way.
Thank you. The beauty of the moment is that whatever your biggest fear is, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Everything else but my biggest fear happened. The mic drop, I love you, shout out, keep doing that. Could you ask for better? Thank you. It's just
yeah. Well, we can only live our future with our perspective of the past. So it's sometimes challenging to leap off the edge and say, I'm going to do this. I earned these wrinkles from years of laughter, tears here and there. This is not necessarily something that's the end, it's the beginning. And I love what Steve said and shared about the being present in the moment. Tomorrow is not promised. We are not guaranteed anything. And at any moment, things can be taken away from us and things can change. And we have to have an attitude of gratitude, in my opinion. And when we wake up with gratitude and we have an opportunity to think about all of the things we do have rather than the things we are lacking, it tends to live in abundance. It tends to propel the abundance in our lives. And it's really important to think about that and how we can add it to our lives and influence others around us, because it's critical to understand that we can make a difference. Each and every one of you is making a difference by being here. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here and taking the time to be here. So appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, my favorite moment of the day was watching Jason and Walter turn red When Chantel mentioned sex.
That was fantastic.
What? I didn't
that
see that. Oh.
Yeah, it was.
That's a replay moment.
Jason.
A replay moment, huh?
That we need to have.
Hey, Jason, I have a question for
It
I'm
is.
sorry, I have a question for Jason. Hey, Jason. Hey,
yeah.
Can you Zoom with me tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.? Just asking for a friend. Hey, I was wondering if I can get a minute of your time tomorrow morning, about 10:30. What's your answer?
My answer is definitely not.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, I tried. Maybe I tried. Listen, I'm very thankful for Raquel. Thank you, Raquel, if you're listening, for shouting out to Gabriel and then Gabriel trusting Raquel to bring me on board, and then Gabriel telling Jason, and Jason probably saying, who? And then them saying, I don't care. It's midnight. Who cares? Fine. No, but it's cool, right? I mean, it's like that's how you meet. So throughout the day, there's been people on board that I click on and I pause to connect. Like, I don't know if they'll want to connect with me. It's that moment of I don't know if I'm in their sphere. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Can I keep up with Russ? Am I going to be able to? But here's the thing. You don't know until you go. And you never know unless you grow. And so you got to put yourself in there and out there so that you can get watered by everybody. That's the cool thing. And so I'm just expecting everyone to splash on me, and I get to grow a little bit taller and wiser. And I will stop and smell the rose.
Yes, please do, David.
Come on, buddy. Steve.
And hey, Dave, nobody's going to link to me because who wants to be connected to a guy who's willing to wear a red wig?
I'm with you, buddy. Hold on.
I can go get my red wig. I can go get my blue wig.
All right.
What do you need?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
There you go. You have it here first. I want to talk about something about expanding your opportunity in a way that a lot of people struggle with, and I've been putting a lot of thought into this recently. So it's a personal challenge for me is thinking in a bigger landscape, thinking in a larger way, and then having that little sneaky. I think Jason, you alluded to it earlier, is the shame of like, who am I to think I need to be, out there or create something bigger or do something bigger or make a bigger impact. And so how do you grow through that? And how do you expand your ideas in a way that doesn't feel like it's self-judging and self-limiting beliefs? And I'm just going to open that up to the conversation to anyone that wants to pitch in and has had to grow and expand their horizons.
I think, sorry, I'll jump in. I have transformed my vocabulary. I try to avoid words like I need, I want, I wish, and I hope. Those are sort of all outside of my control, but I intend, I desire, I expect, I'm consciously putting my energy into. That was big for me because it's there. It's already happening kind of mentality is like, it just continues to grow. And certainly, I mean, who am I, imposter syndrome, to think my story matters more, or that I'm going to be able to reach someone else, and me. And I only have to reach one person.
Come on.
Yeah.
I only have to reach one person. So, and I can do that. I have complete confidence that I can do that. So bye-bye imposter syndrome. Bye-bye the voice in the back of my head. Because you're wrong. Mm-hmm. You're wrong. And our brains, beauty of our brains, complex system that are lemmings. It's going to believe what you tell it. Your brain believes what you tell it. So, hey, if I'm on my way and I purposely set my intention, I surround myself by good people, and I continue to be open, and in a growth mindset, there's no limit to what I can do, and there's no limit to what the people around me can do, because I'm going to make sure that that's the energy I bring. You know, that's my growth. You know, how I sort of, you know, sometimes I have to listen to people that love me and what they say, and not what the voice in my head wants to tell me. So
that's
good. Well, and what you started out with, Nancy, and thank you for sharing that, is because what you start out with is the words you use, changing your vocabulary. And I think this is a lesson that we can share with everyone here, is if we speak to ourselves in a kind and loving way and supportive way, it's much different than beating ourselves up over something that never happened. Yeah, it's really, it's something that has to be programmed, and I think that we can program into others as well. Much like, you know, getting David to smell the roses and stop and realize that now is the moment that is most important in your life, and understand that we have an opportunity to do that. So navigating that has always been a challenge for a lot of people, and I just want to bring it up and bring our attention to it before we take off. So, Steve, you got any thoughts about that?
I have a question for the ladies. Do your faces go numb? So you the long hair, man. I don't know. This stuff is just killing me.
Just go on Amazon. You can order some clips. You know, you can just sort of pull it back out of your face, a headband. You'll be fine.
Sam Hager work.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
That is funny.
Hey guys, I just want to add that, you know, it's been an incredible experience listening to, you know, coming in and out throughout the day. It's been wonderful, and I've seen so many people from all different walks of life, different, you know, coming from different points of view. And I just feel like, you know, it's so beautiful to see that every hour, everybody's messages that they're sharing, the basis of it all is connection, is kindness. As humans, we all seek the same thing, no matter what our differences are, and that's just been a very, very beautiful thing to see and experience. So I really thank you guys, and I applaud the whole cause of XXO. I really believe in the effort that you guys are putting together and the work that you guys are doing, and I'll do whatever I can to support that. So I truly, truly appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you to Gabriel and to all my friends. This has been incredible. Thank you so much.
You bet. You bet.
Thank you.
You know, it's a privilege for us to be here, really. It's a privilege and an opportunity to learn a little bit more about ourselves, a little bit more about our journey, and a little bit more about how we arrived at where we are today. And I'd like to go back to Jason. He's been a little quiet, and I want to talk to Jason about.
Yeah, wake him up.
Maybe a little exhausted. Yeah.
I want to ask you, how did you, I mean, what's your journey? What's your background? And what influences in your life created your meditation practices, your breathing practices? What led up to this outcome and where you are right now? What's your origin story?
It was through going, struggling to find the connection with myself. So I was in other relationships, but I was losing that relationship with myself. And so it put me in many unhealthy relationships. And that cycle will repeat over and over again until you stop and you change and you do something about it. Otherwise, it's just going to repeat. And so I would pick the same, the same partner, a different name, but it was the same partner. And so I had to get to a place where I need to stop and really find that connection with myself, find that relationship with myself, so I didn't lose myself again in the next relationship. And that really was where that journey really started of that last relationship that I had at the time, and really putting distance between jumping back into something again and really starting to go, making the incision do the inner work and expose the parts of me that probably have never been exposed. And really that led me on quite a transformation to here we are today.
Was there any one moment or one thing that you practiced that made a difference and an impact in your journey?
Well, and kind of, I guess, adding to that was between the struggle with the relationship with myself and also what online dating and the dating apps were becoming. So it was kind of a combination of it all. I can't say there's one thing that there's one thing, but my journey of through my transformation, I think I found Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
Led me to Wim Hof, Dorian Yates, Don DePani, just a bunch of amazing humans that for me, that's where my journey, I just 24/7, I was listening to them. I was unwiring, rewiring. I was not jumping back onto dating apps. I was staying out of relationships. I was just doing the work every single day. And it's extremely painful at first. And so we have a tendency to run to the next distraction so we can avoid spending that time with ourselves. But you have to fight it. And every day that goes by, you become further and further in the process of really unwiring, rewiring, and becoming a different person and shedding that personality of who you once were. And that's really the transformation journey that I went on for a number of years.
Wow.
Do you find yourself comfortable being alone?
Yep.
That's good.
That is good.
Yeah. And it's, I love spending time with people, but I can spend time alone and just, go without to go within and shut off everything. And it doesn't become noisy. It's very quiet, which is the difference because a lot of times when people go to spend time with themselves, that's when things get noisy. So they go right back to a distraction. So I don't have that anymore. Things are very quiet. And so really, I think I stopped believing in reality. And when I stopped believing in reality, my life changed overnight. But it wasn't an overnight process. It took a long time to get there.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me 10 years for an overnight success kind of story.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you just have to live through in order to experience it. I often wonder, and I've been, I worked 25 years in companies that no longer exist. So it's really one of those things that it's kind of surreal when I look back on it. And you can only really understand some of the things that you were feeling at the time only after you've had enough duration between the experience and the understanding. And it's really, it takes time to understand where you are and why you're there at the moment. And for myself, it wasn't until years later that I actually understood how much trauma I had been through, at different points in my life. And I'm okay with it. It's one of the things that, because where I am today and now, it's much easier to understand and appreciate, and it's become a part of me. So I just kind of wonder how other people experience that and how they reflect on trauma or change or bad habits or things that they've changed in their life. So how do you reflect on that, Jason?
Well, that's life experience. And to me, life experience leads to purpose. And so I probably, if I asked each and every one of you, what is your purpose in life? I have a feeling you would be able to say it just like that. It's because of everything that you went through. And I think it was mentioned before, you have a choice. You can live as a victim and you can live in the past for the rest of your life. Or you can, or we can choose to do the inner work and find that purpose and move on with your life and actually be able to live your life as opposed to simply existing for the rest of your life.
Yeah, just existing really kind of sucks, actually.
Yeah, and going from just living not being enough to thriving, like really that being, to thrive. Like I could live, I could survive, I could live, but I want to thrive.
Right.
That's really the goal, is I want to thrive. And I also think that when you reflect back at those things, it's super, super important that like my 30-year-old self didn't judge a 5-year-old from a 30-year-old's perspective. You know, that 5-year-old did what she knew how to do. I didn't have the tools that I have now at 47 when I was, you know, or even in my 20s. I didn't have those tools. So that compassion for yourself. I mean, thank the parts of you that got you through it to this point, to be able to do the work, to be able to roll up your sleeves, to be able to say, I'm not giving this a minute more of my life, and it's gonna kick my butt, but I am not going down. I'm not going down. I always say, you know, everybody has crap. They can sit in it, you can stand up, or you can roll around and make sure it gets everywhere.
Yeah.
That's, you know, no thanks.
I always say we have a choice to grow through from what we go through. You know, it's a choice that we have. So
That's good.
I love
like
that. Grow through with what we go through.
I like that. I'd like to tag on that.
Yes.
Seed, time, harvest. Everything I do. This is the greatest seed this month, probably in 6 months, right here for Way Beyond Measure. It's seed. Now we cultivate. It's time. We ain't harvesting shit tonight. There ain't no harvest. We're spreading the seed, and now that the seed is spread, we're gonna have little shoots of Russ and Jason and Way Beyond Measure and Raquel and Michael and Stephen. And I mean, so, but you gotta wait. So I want to go back to the other question also, is that how do we work together? I need to sow seed to Jason. Jason, here it comes, man. I'm going to sow the seed, and wherever it lands, some really good places, then we're going to cultivate that and we're going to grow. It's going to take a while, though. You know why? Because I don't know your middle name. So it takes time, because I don't know your birthday, because it takes time. Now is not the time. That's the time. Seed, which is now. So everyone throw seed. Come on. Just
throwing the seeds out.
I will not stop until you throw seed. Thank you. That's the seed that you throw. Now you got to wait. And you know what we do during the wait? We go and pick it up. We go and eat the seed. Leave the seed alone. Leave it alone. Water it. Wait for it. Now listen, there was something cool that Gabriel wrote this morning. Dude, if you say another word, I'm gonna call you on it and I'm gonna kick you off the platform. That's a weed. Tell me I'm wrong, right? You remember he wrote that this morning to that guy who was doing blah blah blah, and Gabriel's like, no, that's enough, man. Dude, you're done. You say one more thing, I'm plucking you. I love it. It's okay to pluck. It's okay to pluck. If you need to get rid of people in your life, get the pluck out of here. So you need to get them out.
Yeah.
Okay. So listen, you guys, to help Russ, to help Jason, to help Gabriel, to help Raquel, to help Steve. I am so horrible with your name. How can I say it? I want to give you seed. And so whatever happens, however that sprouts and however that comes about, then we can work together, because I understand if your harvest is wonderful, Jason, you're calling me to do something. Mm-hmm. You can't harvest it all by yourself. Your barn's not big enough. I got a barn too. Share the barn. Everyone has a barn. I hope you have a barn. If you don't have a barn yet, build the barn. The harvest is coming. Y'all have been working very, very hard. You feel it? Who's with me?
Oh, yeah.
Are you doing this today for today's gratification? Because all I could see on Jason's face is, I'm tired as hell. But your seed, brother, is your harvest, my friend. Hold the line. 8 more hours. Hold. Because your harvest, bro. If that doesn't fire you up.
He's got it under control. He's got it under control. Yeah.
Guys, I appreciate y'all very much, man, again. And I am thrilled to death that I get to be part of this, because Man, it's like ragu, fellas. It's in me. Just pop the top, bro. Pour it in. I'm all in. Man, it's got the lettuce. It's got the oregano and all the spices. Just pop the top, baby. Pour it over. Yeah. Dude, so whatever you need to do, I'm ecstatic, thrilled. I love you guys to death. Man, I don't know how I'm gonna go to sleep. It's gonna be, man. It'll be funny.
You don't have to. You can just monitor the comments.
us Cali girls have it a little easier over here. I will say.
Yes, they do.
Is there East Coast? Who's East Coast? Anyone East Coast right now? No. What are you West Coast? Russ?
I'm Arizona, so I'm.
You guys don't change. You guys don't even keep time.
No, we don't.
Arizona. What time is it? I don't know. Well, we don't have. That's where the yellow lights stay on forever. It's like yellow. It's okay. It's a mile back. You can keep going. It's a yellow.
So where are you located, David?
Huh?
Where are you located?
Arkansas. We're in. We're in right there outside of Little Rock in the Ozark. And so, yeah, fun place to live, man. It's amazing. So I am Central Time. And so this is really cool with all you. And where are you at, Jason? Are you?
You're muted.
Connecticut.
Oh, you're Eastern Time. So you're right. He's right next door to our vice president, Patrick. Patrick's in New Hampshire, or maybe not. I don't know. Is that close? Don't hold me to geography. My bad.
Florida, late. Yeah.
Late.
Yeah.
I have another hour left.
That's nothing. You
Good night,
Jason.
Everybody.
No, so I just want to let everybody know in the chat, in the stream, and the comments that we're still getting a lot of people in here. We've got some people going on. So I'm hanging out. I'm holding on. And I just know that we got more to talk about. We got more going on. And I just want to take a pause and a break and make sure that everybody's awake, aware, and you all know that this is a 24-hour marathon and it is a fundraiser. So just take a moment, think about the value that you could receive from being part of this movement, part of this organization, how you can contribute, how you can receive and generate a lot of benefit from being a part of this early on. So join us on the Kickstarter campaign. It's kickstarter.com project/XXO Connect /XXO. And I know that this is going to be part of a big experience, and you're going to look back and say, wow, I am so grateful I participated in contributing to a great cause. This has made a difference in my life, and I've seen it make a difference in everybody else's life. So I know that you have an opportunity here, and it's here right now. You know, it's not going to last forever. So I encourage everyone to take part in this exercise and this fundraising effort. So thank you so much for being here. All the gratitude in the world. And for anyone that knows me, this is me. This is who I am. So this is who I am.
The pirate.
The pirate, yeah. And I think that there's probably a few more stories that I want to talk about and talk about. There's a big change taking place. If you're here in the U.S., there's a lot of unknowns still taking place. There's a lot of things that are, a little bit of friction, and stress is so important to manage. And I think that if we manage our stress and we can learn to relax and we can learn to breathe and we can learn to reflect on those things, life is so much easier. Being present with ourselves, being present in the moment, stopping and smelling the roses is so key to our future and our mental health. And I want to ask the group, and I want to go around the table here and find out, what are you doing for self-care, and how has it played in your life, and how has it evolved in the last few years? So, Steve, kick it off.
Well, one of the things I've learned about self-care is there's really 3 areas that we need to pay attention to, and that's spiritually, mentally, and physical. If you only pay attention to 2 of those, it's like a 3-legged stool. One of your legs isn't equal to the others, you're going to fall over. And I personally had that happen in my life, where I wasn't physically and mentally ready. And so since then, I've worked on the physical side by getting more physically active. I do some stretching exercises in the morning. I try and swim Monday through Friday every day. I'm not trying to conquer the mountain or set some kind of big goal. It's, what can I do today? Oftentimes we think about, okay, we want to lose 50 pounds. No, we need to think about, what can we do today? And if you keep doing that over X number of days, whether that's a year or 3 years, you're probably going to eventually get to that 50 pounds that you want to lose. But don't put a time frame on it. Just look at what you can do for the day. Mentally, just spending time being challenged by other people and their input, so that you can grow. For me, and probably for Falguni too, the UMAP process has been a big part of that, and helping us understand ourselves mentally on the inside, and then spiritually, just the time every morning to spend time in prayer, reading the Bible, seeking God. Those are the things that I try to do in equal amounts to be healthy.
That's good.
Good deal. Thanks for sharing that. And Falguni, how have you approached that? Because you work with transformation as well, so I'm kind of interested in finding out how you have adapted habits and changed over the years.
Absolutely. So for me, it is all about consistent action. So I believe in holistic well-being, and that includes, as he was mentioning, our mind, body, soul. They're all connected, and so that is why it is important for us to attend to all of them, right? So I know that we focus a lot on our physical health. We get into strength activities, and we do a lot of things to take care of ourselves physically. I think sometimes people tend to ignore the mental health issue, and which is why we are seeing it so prominent today. I think it is important to have exercises, like how we have routines for physical routines, right? Like every morning we exercise for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. Similarly, I think attending to our mind. So I personally do that by breathing exercises and by meditation. That's like food for my mind. I have to do that just to equip myself for the day, just to make myself ready. And morning and evening routines are extremely important, and I do think that they hold a lot of importance in our lives. So that's what I do. And then for the soul, I think it is very, very important to serve. Like we underestimate the power of actually being of service to others. And by service, I really mean whatever small or big activity that we can do selflessly in a day, for others. It's something that I have incorporated to be a part of my life, and for my children as well. It is so important for them to do even one selfless act. It could be something like, making a phone call, asking the neighbor, helping them out, whatever it is. It is so important to do that every single day. I think action trumps intention any day. So just doing whatever it is that we can possibly do is going to help. So anytime I feel like, when I'm not in a good mood, I know that I can, sing, dance, and serve. That is something that we can all do every single day, and that's how I go about it.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. David, what about you?
Boy. I would have to say that I wake up, get out of bed, and throw a comb across my head, but I don't have a comb. I think it's really important for me that I set my time up because I don't know what's going to happen during the day. I don't have any clue. I am that guy that wakes up and says, okay, what's going to happen today? But I have on my alarm clock a 10 and a 3 o'clock and a 5 o'clock whistle. And it stops and it sends me to a John Maxwell 3-minute Guzraba. Pull it in. And sometimes when that buzzer goes off, I must make myself, because I might be doing something that needs my attention. And remember, if I stop and read, I might get ADD all over it. I might not know where I went to get back. So it's I'm very aware of my time. So when it does come, I can have my moment. Because if I do not have my moment, I will rip your head off. But you're a character development company. I know, isn't that weird? I know. Why me? See, listen. When I sat on the rock 13 years ago, he wasn't qualifying me. He was asking me if I'd do it. There's a difference. I said yes. And then he qualified me. Then he opened the doors. Okay. I like that, what Steve said. It's an absolute truth. I've been a pastor for 30 years. And I'm infectious. We had mega churches because people wanted to hear goofy. It's a fact. It's truth, guys. What is this guy going to say today? And when they're done, they're like, because they take it home and it's tangible. And I've always told people, please don't take our word for it. They've got to find it out for themselves. What works for me isn't going to work for Russ. What works for me doesn't work for Steve. Okay. So Goonie, I mean, I can't, I wish that I could give you a whole bunch of chunks. You're going to take a couple of them, but you probably won't take them all. So I think that every day is my choice. What am I going to do today to do something for me? So, dudes, Steve, I miss swimming. There's a pool that I could go to, but who wants to get in a bathing suit and get wet?
I do.
I know, but I don't. I'd have to get up and get dried off, and then what a waste of time. That's me. But it's not. I would have to have Steve say, just go, and then I would do it, and then I feel better. I had a 1:30 appointment yesterday, Zoom. It was 12:15. My wife said, get up, we're going for a walk around the lake. I said, I can't, I have a 1:30. She goes, get up and let's go for a walk around the lake. I went, yes, ma'am. We start walking around the lake. She goes, how's your mind? I went, my gosh, we cleared it up. She goes, you're welcome. So just that moment of taking, nothing's going anywhere. Nothing's going anywhere. And the reason Nancy's laughing is she knows my wife. It's true. And listen, the reason, and this is something wonderful, the reason people think that I'm really good is because of my wife. It's the best. When you have a wife that tells you you're amazing every morning, just before I apologize. Yes, I apologize every morning. Guys, call me. I'll teach you. You apologize before you go out the day, and then you're good. You're covered. Okay. But it was those moments that when your friend says, time out, and that's where the people come in. So when Steve calls me on Monday or texts me on Monday, he goes, Verdue, did you smell the roses? That's all he has to say. Steve and I are going to have the rose ceremony for the rest of our life.
Amen.
Dude, yeah. The roses. I'm going to know what that means. Yeah, they smell like shit today. But this is true. Is it true or is it not true? I apologize about my lingo, but the truth is, when you are in health or mental health and you think that as a pastor, pastors have it all together, I'm here to tell you they lie. Do not take their word for it. That's their interpretation. You dig. Right?
And it goes back. It goes back.
Kids, everybody, you have to dig. I'm here for you. I even have the shovel, but you have to dig.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave. I love what you said, because smart men listen to their wives.
It's chapter 19, bro. Listen to the cautions of your wife. I ain't kidding. I read it. It was on chapter 19. Holy crap. I just ripped that whole section out. Oh, geez. Don't rip it out, guys. Listen. Pay attention. You know,
and that goes back to what Jason's been talking about. Is it comes from within. You know, it comes from within, and it really allows us to be aware of what we can do when we're quiet and our minds are calm, and we go for a walk. We go out there and do something different. So,
one other thing I wanted. I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
Okay. One other thing I wanted to add that I found immense value in working with so many people as well as with my own family and myself is that, every single day when we journal, we include specifically 3 things that we forgive ourselves for. Every single day, there are so many things that, we do consciously, unconsciously, that we are aware of or not, that, we find ourselves, we blame ourselves for. So there are 3, like write down 3 examples, 3 situations today that you completely forgive yourself for. And that's been such an excellent exercise for my kids as well, and for us. So I just wanted to share this as I remember about it when Coach David was talking about, his experience. So I just wanted to share that.
Fantastic. Yeah. I forgiveness and self-forgiveness is
self-forgiveness.
Yeah. Very.
We found that it was very easy for us to forgive others. At times, I think that it's very easy for us to forgive others, especially, because we are not, it is good to forgive, and it's something that we learn about while growing up as well. But we are not taught that we have to forgive ourselves too. And only when we forgive ourselves, we truly will forgive others as well. So that was something that was very, very important for me to learn. Only when I grew up enough to, live I had lived half of my life right now not knowing this and not forgiving myself, and therefore the built up. So that's why when we become aware of things and we become aware of what's going on within us, when we do the inner work, we really come across. I mean, I always say that we have to pay that the tax of storing all the garbage within us in tears. It's so ridiculous, some of the things that we hold, and then when we have to release them, we always end up releasing them with tears. So that is why the self forgiveness aspect is extremely important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Nancy, did you have anything to expand on with that subject?
So listening to self-care, it's I echo a lot of it, mind, body, soul. I think swimming is so meditative for me. And I had to let go of the shoulds. Got to let go of those, because even with meditation, like my meditation, the practice I've created doesn't look like anything it should look like, or I thought it was supposed to look like. And that's allowed me to bring meditation into my life. For me, it's like I have to nurture my wise mind and my emotional mind and the intersection of the two. That's really important for me to honor. And what I have found is stillness. My normal life is so busy. I'm going. And yeah, at the end of the day, I'm still, but I collapse. I'm not as present as I could be. And I don't love the reason I've been given extra time by any means, but I have been, and I have just my self-care is the quiet stillness within. And I think that surprised me a little bit. I mean, I've always liked that, but to really like crave it. And earlier Raquel actually was saying, and then I called her afterwards, like, me too, is that, you know, for a long time I beat myself up for not being good at being a girl. You know, I don't like to go to the salon and get my hair done. I know, like, it's a chore, like I have to sit and do my nails. Like, that's not what I want to do. I want to go home and get in my pajamas and sit on the couch with the cats, you know? And what I realized actually earlier today when I was in the shower, was that, like, actually my not going to the salon, my not going to get my nails done is my self-care. That piece that brings me home to my couch with my pajamas and my cats, that's my self-care. Again, should? Yeah, I mean, no, I don't have a should. What I need is what I need, and it changes every day. I mean, you know, but yeah, I echo what people are saying in that I think nurturing all of our parts, but also letting go of what it should look like, or that it has to be doing something.
Yeah, there has to be a motivation for it, right?
Yeah. You have to get something from it. I mean, that's the whole point, right? You have to find the thing that re-energizes you, and, you know, whether it's swimming or meditating or whatever it is, or just sitting still, being with yourself, taking stock. I think it's every person's practice is different, and I think we have to make space for that for others and space for ourselves, for it not to look somehow that somebody has it right and we don't, and it should be this or it should be that. You know, I lived a life with a really bad case of the shoulds, and you know, had to sort of cure myself of that.
And other people's expectation, being a people pleaser, is something that a lot of people suffer from, and knowing that, okay, if I don't do something, it's the last thing I want to do today. However, if I don't do it, somebody's going to be disappointed. I don't want anybody not to like me, and I don't want to be disappointing to anyone, right?
And yeah, and when you're empathetic, man, you know, like you feel those feelings, you feel that person's feelings. It's another self-care, boundaries, man. I mean, that's a hard one. Oh, it's a hard one.
They're all around us.
Oh, they're everywhere. And laughing. I have laughed in such a grim time. I have laughed so much and so heartily. That has been an amazing, like, allowing the joy to come through the pain and the heaviness of everything has really, really helped. But yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people miss the concept that you have to be open in order to share the joy, and it also allows you to be open for the pain. You know, it's not necessarily you can't have both.
Right.
You know, you can't be transparent and open and be yourself without being exposed to life.
Yeah, and that was a lesson learned, you know, from my trauma. You don't get to choose which feelings not to choose, but not to feel, right? It's all or none. And so again, that fishbowl, I was so disconnected, which is where I came in with, you know, my wise mind and my emotional mind. And really the thing for me is where they intersect, and, you know, putting those things in alignment and being willing to feel all of it, you know, the crappy days that I, you know, get out of bed and get back in. Well, you know what? At least I get to do that. I get to do that. I get to get out of bed and I get to go back in because I'm here today. You know, that I just.
When you think about a stoic lifestyle, or, you know, you think about Marcus Aurelius, or, you know, some of the philosophers, it's like the tragedy is part of the journey. It's part of the lesson we learn, and that's what creates who we are. It's not necessarily life is all happy and rainbows and unicorns. It's the tragic and the challenges. That's kind of what tempers our steel. You know, it allows.
And how do you know when? Sorry.
Go ahead.
How do you know when the joy arrives, when it shows up, if you haven't felt the other? You know, it's sort of like people manifest and they're thinking, but they're not grateful for what they already have. What makes you think if you can't recognize what you have, that you're going to see what you manifest, you know, appear again? You know, if I didn't have a bad day, how do I know I'm having a good day? You know, how do I know all of it? It's all equally important. And, you know, I can't deny any piece of myself and still feel whole.
Exactly. So half glass full or half glass empty?
Half full.
Half full.
Yeah.
It's actually,
I'm gonna dump it out.
Yeah.
Well, the glass is always full because air does count.
I'm gonna be next to Steve. I'm gonna have him pour his into mine, and that way I'm full.
Yeah. Be glad to.
If we see, listen, if we all come together with a half glass full,
yeah,
we can fill each other up. So
Half
come
full
with
means there's still
something.
space.
So come with something, right? If you come with something, when we put it all together, we can make something. Listen, if I bring the flour and you bring the yeast and you bring the salt and you bring the baking powder and Falguni brings the heat, we can make bread.
Yeah.
I'll bring the stomach.
I'll taste test.
Yeah, you always have to go with the mouth, right? I'll bring the mouth. That's good, buddy. That's
Yeah,
good.
and half full means there's space. I mean,
yeah,
there's got to be space for more, for different, for change, for to bring people like this into your life and have space for everything, every experience.
I have a question about the half full. Who takes a glass and only fills it halfway? Put water in and fill it up. What are you doing? That I don't like the half full. I'm that guy. I'm sorry. It's like, what?
We can find a new metaphor for you.
Right, that would work for you, Coach.
Just help the guy out.
Hey,
Yeah.
what you're saying is there room at the end? That's your glass half full. Is there room at the end? Is there room in your barn? That's your glass
Yeah.
half full. Is
You
there
got
space
room
for
in the
more?
barn. Waiting for the harvest, and many hands make light work, right?
Come on, yes, that's right.
We are so much better together.
And we have a community now, right? So if Steve needs a barn put together, by golly,
we have
we're
a barn
gonna raise
raising.
the barn.
Call the troops. Call the troops.
Come on, we're gonna raise the barn. Oh no, we'll raise the roof, Steve. We'll go, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Raise the roof. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you bring a valid point. I'm very familiar with the Amish community, and when they need to build a barn, the whole community comes together, and in a day,
it's done.
they've got it built. Because they all
know
get
what
together.
they're
They know what they're doing, and they put it together. It's awesome.
And they've been together, so that guy who is really, really good at the A-frame part, yeah, that's his job. And no one is getting mad that he gets to do it.
No.
Who cares? We all.
Sometimes everybody has their own. They have their own task and their own skill, and they've developed that skill.
I know, but it's all hands on deck when you push that wall up.
Yeah.
Right, and it's that scarcity mentality that gets us in trouble, right? I see it a lot, especially between women. Someone meets a great guy and we're all pissed off because like you took the only great guy in the world, or you got the only promotion there is in the world. I mean, you might have taken the only great guy there is in the world. And I do
Well, that's
wanna
my
touch
wife.
base
That's
about
what my
these
wife
dating
says.
apps because
Yeah,
I
my
am
wife
a
says that too.
but it's
The greatest guy's already taken, my wife said. That's what she said. I'm not saying.
While I was talking about that.
Hey,
With
Rod.
abundance, not scarcity.
Why don't you ask me how humble I am? What? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but you know what? Being
Love you already. Love
Yeah,
you
sure of
already.
yourself
Yeah.
isn't something to apologize for. You don't have to apologize for being
No.
Come on.
knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why Nancy is on the Way Beyond Measure team. Remember what I said? The very first statement was you surround yourself with super smart people.
Yes.
And they make you look like a champion. And that's what you do. And what we teach is we don't do Way Beyond Measure. Way Beyond Measure isn't the all in all.
Yeah.
Way Beyond Measure is us. It's who we are. It's like everything. So if I go on vacation, so I was in New Mexico last year and I'm up on this incline that my wife It was freaking awesome. And if it would have broke, yes, we would have died. It's amazing. And we're going up the trolley. You get to the top, there's a restaurant. So we're at this restaurant, we're eating, and this lady starts hacking fur balls. And she's choking, and she falls down and almost passes out. I fixed her. I went over and I gave her a hiney lick. And I hiney licked her, and she spit it out. And when she spat it out, she was like, wow. And then they called the ambulance, and the ambulance came and stuff. They were like,
building character brought to
did
you
you ever
by
do
Waking
that? It's not. It was a. Everyone stood there and did nothing.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
My wife's like, oh my gosh, you look so amazing and so hot. These are my words. These are my words. It's my story. So she's like, wow, that was like incredible what you did. She goes, do you know what you were doing? No, I just slapped her. She woke up. Do something.
Yeah. Be willing.
Right, but everyone stood there. Do you know what? I was thinking when I finished and the ambulance came and everyone came and high-fived me and stuff, free dinner or at least a free dessert. Nothing. I get, but getting on that trolley going down, I was so satisfied because it's not a part-time gig, guys.
Yeah.
If you see somebody, how do you go by them? How? And just so, and I'm teaching preschoolers, elementary school kids, high school, middle school kids, all over the country, Canada, UK, how to be aware. Because you know what everyone says? All our kids right now, they're on the blame game. None of them are wrong. Them, they, you, Billy.
Somebody
never
else.
Me, never I, never take responsibility. And then the parents come and fend for them and they don't learn nothing.
Yep.
Sorry. I love kids but I get frustrated when we have answers and everybody enables kids thinking that they're the adults. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I take over? And I apologize.
No.
But guys, we are on to something.
Yep.
So we stay in our lanes. We figure out who's good where. Go for it. And there's plenty of room, guys. We're gonna light this thing up. Russ and Steve, you guys have no idea what you've done to my heart. Falguni, same thing. I mean, it's exactly who I needed with me at this, moment. Before I got on, said, dude, are you getting on with Gabriel? I said, I have no idea who I'm on with. This is perfect. No, really? So it was like Russ. Russ wrote about at 11:40. Who's supposed to be on next? I wrote, hey, it's Coach and Nancy. He didn't write a damn thing back. You know why? Who? But now he'd be able to write something because now we contacted. There's a connect.
Perfect. It's so perfect.
What's really cool about Russ and I is we're Velcro now. We need each other.
Absolutely.
In order for us to stick, we need each other. Yep. And the only way to separate is to make that sound. I'll be back.
Nah.
And then when we come, right? So, not that close.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Russ, now Goonie needs to leave. I've got to go run and get my cable. And I got to get rid of this wig because I think I'm getting a rash on my face.
You can lose the wig.
I'll be back. So
right.
Just kick me out for a little bit.
Just join us back. We'll see you about in a few minutes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. It was nice meeting you.
So much.
Nice being with you. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. You gonna take off as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a coaching call in next 2 minutes.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, Russ, you have the privilege of being on with just.
I want to hear his story.
Yeah, I do too. That's
Are
the
you?
question. I'm like,
Can I
what
ask
is
you a
her
question?
story? What's the
This is
question to
something that
ask?
probably a lot of people ask you, and I'm just going to be curious. Are you a biker?
I have a bicycle. I've owned Harleys.
Okay. Do you have a Harley?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
I've owned motorcycles. I've had motorcycles, fast cars, and you know.
Do
And
people
Russ,
take
what's your
you?
self-care? Sorry,
Has
Coach.
people ever taken you like maybe been a little bit or a lot intimidated by you?
I don't know.
I'm just
I don't concern myself with it.
Oh, good. See,
There you go.
That's good. That's a great answer. I think your look is phenomenal, bro.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
love
that.
it. I love
Appreciate
it.
that.
I really do.
You know, this has
So
been a good experience for me. And Gabriel, he says, "Hey, this thing is happening." I met Jason on Gabriel's show one night, and I just love the story. And it it really goes back to, I was in a group a few years back, and I started putting myself out there, and starting to getting engaged. And it's almost as if I had my own little group going inside their group, and I don't know what happened, but pretty soon I was like, I wasn't able to post. I wasn't able to put things out there. It's like, all right, I get it. It's like, you have to figure out what kind of, playground you're going to play in.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that not everybody's going to appreciate what you're doing, and not everybody's going to appreciate what you bring to the table. However, I appreciate it, and I'm going to share it. I'm going to continue to share it, and I'm going to put it out there, and the people that want it will show up.
So
yeah,
what
the
would
people
it?
who
Go ahead, Nancy.
sorry.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, there's those times where like things happen, and the universe shows you so clearly where you do not need to put your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're not depleted. And those are sort of the moments where, okay, I'm taking that energy back. I'm not giving it to the people who aren't appreciating it or engaging in it. That's a waste.
And I think one of the most profound self-care moments is when you can ask yourself, what do I no longer need? What do I need to remove from my list? As much as what do I need to add to my life?
Yeah.
Yes, I like
For
that.
sure.
So it's really important to understand that. So
Nancy, I like what you said about weight. And it almost seems like you talked about weight and he was talking about something. So I always picture it like as a backpack or backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Baggage.
When I was younger, my backpack was, I went into the ministry and I started telling pastors what I wanted to do, and they kept telling me to wait. I spelt it wrong.
Yeah.
WEIGHT, and it was in my backpack for years. It says, if you wait upon the Lord, he renews your strength. But I was getting pushed, man, because I didn't understand weight. Weight meant at the time seed, time, harvest. When you're 21 years old, I want it now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Amazon will deliver it to me tomorrow.
Right, in a day. In a day.
They got the same day delivery now. Are you insane?
Well, not the wait part. Not the wait part. That's tomorrow. You have to go tomorrow.
Be careful how you spell wait, guys. Just make sure that when someone tells you to wait, that you spell it correctly. It's very important, because your backpack and you will not be able to handle it if you don't put it in the right category. Wait simply means to stay where you're at or to be still until the door is open.
My friend Wendy says, I have no training to give advice. This is going to be such a wild ride.
But here's the thing, Wendy, I had that. I had the whole, like, I'm not qualified thing. Like, I am not a certified meditation teacher. I'm not a coach. But you know what I have? Experience. I have my experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm sharing. My expertise is not something I learned in a book or, well, oh, hey, look, whole new man.
Oh my gosh.
It's not something I learned in a book.
How
And it's not
good
something I
looking
have a
he
certificate
is.
that I can hang on
Dude.
the wall for. I don't have the certificate on the wall, but I have my experience.
You do have your experience, and that is incredibly valuable. And I think there's a lot of, I was talking to somebody in HR the other day about this idea that there's a lot of people leaving the workforce with years of experience that are just exiting and not sharing that information. And it's tragic. It's so hard. And I just think it's like, if we could leave a legacy, if we can actually share some of our knowledge and some of our experience and put that forward and bring it forth, it's so much easier if people, and then you have to train younger people or people that need the experience or want the experience to be open to receiving it. Because not everybody's willing to learn. Not everybody's open or ready to be trainable.
And what an odd concept we have of retirement is that you're put out to pasture. And when you are come to this point in your life where your experience, your knowledge is so rich, you're supposed to just step away and sit down. It's bizarre.
The percentage of, especially with guys.
Oh yeah.
That when they retire, some of them go quickly.
Yeah.
There's a percent. I don't know the percentage. I don't know that, but I've just heard that when you say to a man, after all those years of doing something as a man, that you need to stop and retire, they ain't got nothing else to live for.
Yeah.
So they think.
Right.
They don't understand next chapter because they've never had one. We need to teach people better, guys. I've always tell my team on Monday mornings for our camp, I said, if you disagree with me, let me know. But we don't need any more children and kids farms or camps. We need adult camps. We need parent camps so that we can teach and show them how to actually be. And it's not a bad thing. I don't want them to feel like, oh gosh, the only reason I'm going to the camp is because I suck as a block. No. So that you can educate yourself, so you can become somebody amazing. That's all it is. It's got nothing to do with where you are at this moment or at this time. It's just a matter of staying focused and continuing to grow in what you're learning and growing through. So
Absolutely. The other thing about that is the opportunity to actually be open to change. A lot of people are not necessarily comfortable with change in their life. They really have to feel like it's part of their, it's like, okay, I worked so hard to get where I am today that I'm not going to change anything. And, I'm really shocked by that because, there are things that I was working so hard towards in my life that I was suicidal. It's like, there's something wrong with this picture. What is wrong with this picture? And it's like, no, this is not the way it should be. This is not the way it needs to be. And like you said, Nancy, you just have to realize that you have to change something. You have to remove something from your life and accept it. So it's really encouraging.
To ask yourself is always like, especially with people, do I like who I am when I'm with them?
I love myself, and so do I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just me. It's like, Jason, you came back.
They say you come back quiet, and Walter just sneak in and listen.
I was actually back for a while. We just couldn't seem to get back into the screen here. We've been back for about 20 minutes or so.
That's okay. That's okay. Walter, did you get a break?
I took a break. I thought I would get an hour and a half of sleep, but my brain was so stimulated. I think it was about 10 minutes, and we're back at it. We're ready to rock and roll. So
fantastic.
Have to be Jason's wingman.
Well, you are. You're on the home stretch, and you have a lot to look forward to. This is not the 24 hours is 24 hours, and I would anticipate that you have many more hours, years, months involved in your future. So I want to encourage everybody around you to support you and pay attention to what's going on in your own life, and make sure that you're taking the time and the opportunity to improve who you are and who you are around other people. Because
I appreciate that.
Everybody appreciates being around positive people that can help them grow, mentors, influencers that have a positive impact on their life. Nobody wants to be around the negativity, machine, the trouble train. Get off the bus.
Yeah, it's funny. My journey is in and out of that, and growing was the one thing that I always took away from that. And I remember my mom telling me about a year or two ago. I'm 51 years old, and I remember my mother saying to me that even through adversity, it was amazing the amount of love and passion, happiness, and positivity that you always carried through. And it was within those moments that I was able to peel away and grow. So Jason coming to me and asking me to join this community was kind of like, okay, it's time to give back. I've done a lot of this work internally, and it's time to give back, in particular to men that have historically, in my opinion, not embraced that growth. So that's part of the platform that I'll be focusing on, along with how our children are impacted by that, and even how our relationships with women are impacted by that. So I appreciate you saying that, Russ. But you're right, many more years to go, and been studying and meaning in my own life. So ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Well, I think it's people, everyone at some point has to stop and pause and say, I want to find meaning. There's this, I want to find my why, I want to find my purpose, but really ultimately it's, I want to have meaning in my life, whether it's a relationship, if it's a skill, it's a way of living, a way of being. It has to provide meaning to us, and we have to make sure that we share that meaning in a positive way. And I think that's really what life is. That's what makes it worth living for myself. Other people may have different ideas. I just encourage you to share those ideas and build a community around how you can improve others. And there's no shortage of the opportunity to be kind to someone else around you. So.
Yeah, totally. Prior to this pandemic, I used to kind of jokingly say that time and people were, the biggest commodities. And, one of the things I have shifted into is human capital, and what does that mean when you see just the fragility of life, so to speak, with the pandemic and, the different nuances with it, and the different pre-existing conditions, or people that didn't even know they had existing conditions, thought they were healthy, so it definitely has put a I lost a child as well, Russ, and to a car accident 20 years ago, and that is something that has never left. So it is taking care of that human capital, the human race. And listening to Steve talk about his conversations. This is the virus forced us to shelter in place, or maybe the universe, forced us to shelter in place to really dive into these issues that we were just kind of on a hamster wheel, ignoring. And as we were sitting in front of our devices and TVs because we couldn't go anywhere in March, April, and May, it was almost like boom, 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 and things that have always been there became heightened. And so XXO Connect was born out of that to some degree at a 4:30 download. And now we're here.
And it's amazing that we are here. And one of the things that I really have sensed during this, time, my brief time on this session right now is the fact that we all have something in common. We all have a common goal and a common thread. And I've always shared this philosophy that if you have a conversation long enough with anyone, there will be a thread because we're all connected. And I believe that that's more true today than ever before. I've been a remote worker. I have been working from home for over a decade and multiple times in my career. And so my life hasn't really been impacted to the degree that some lives have. However, I can empathize and see how much impact it's had on other lives, and sharing stories and being supportive and helping others out along the way is how I can give back. I can help teach them a new skill or teach them a new way of thinking, or giving them the opportunity, because I see opportunities everywhere. That's how my mind works, is I see opportunities everywhere. I have to slow down to focus on a few of them that I can actually accomplish with any kind of intent. And so as we go through this change, I mean, most pandemics, if you look back in history, they're not 1 year long. They're years in duration. So, potentially this could be a long-term effect. And we have to think about that in a way that we can be supportive and create a ripple effect, just like Jason's doing with XXO.
Come on.
And being the provider of comfort and a little bit of communication. So
yeah, it's so interesting you say that. I always tell folks, really, when you peel it back, we're probably 80 to 90%. Like if me and Coach and Steve and Nancy and Jason wrote down what we want for our family, I bet you just top 10 things. Bet you 8 out of the 10 things would be the same, maybe even 9. And it's that 10% or that 20% that makes it so polarizing, and we hold on to those things instead of focusing on the 80% of the things that are important. It's why I try not to look at the weather. It's 30% chance of rain. Well, it's 70% chance that it's not going to rain today. So what are we talking about? Like if positivity conversation you're having, Steve, I'd like to start a positivity network. Like there's no negative news or no negative weather. It's
yes,
but it is something that has been a lifelong mission of mine. Didn't know how to really put it into let's say a product or a service until Jason, and I think Jason saw that. Like when I did the conversation, I think, because I didn't know Jason at the time, and I think he could see that and said, let me pull this guy into this bridge that he's trying to, who would ever think that me and Russ could be best friends, just by the appearance of us, and then we sit down and talk and find out, wow, we are like 90% the same exact person with the same exact lived experiences. And maybe not that far, same exact lived experiences, but if you dig deep enough, you would find out, get past the color, it probably is very, very, very similar.
Yeah. Well, and it's that conversation over conflict. I think people need to realize that there's a way that we can actually have different opinions and still have a conversation.
Yes.
We don't have to be the same. I mean, we're each unique. That's the whole point. We're all unique. And it doesn't really matter. We can still have a conversation about our differences and realize that those differences are what make us unique. And our common thread in our communication can bring us together. And it's it's like we were talking earlier when Nancy was saying, you can't be open to loving someone without being at risk of being hurt by someone. You can't have both sides of the equation.
Yep.
And it's the same way with conflict.
Sorry, we have to stop needing to be right or needing to convince other people that, well, they have to think the way we think so that you can have that conversation, right? If you're not listening, you're not engaging in a conversation, it's a monologue and a berating. It's sort of beating each other up. And I'm no more right than you are. It's funny, I do an exercise because I work a lot in social cognition and social thinking, and I'll ask, I'll hold the notebook up between us and I'll ask, well, what color is it? What color is it?
Green.
Right. And I'm going to say it's brown. What color? It's brown. It's absolutely brown. What color do you know? But guess what? We're both right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, never in any time, I'm pre, cell phones and beepers and all this other stuff. And I like to debate. Let me tell you, I'm a good debater. You pick a side, Nancy, I'll pick a side. We'll debate it. And, we'll
I love it.
I love to debate, but never in any time can I remember in history of two things being right at the same time as much as it is today.
Yeah.
You take politics, sex, gender, parenting. I mean, it is so, there's so many times I'm debating with somebody and I'll stop and I'll realize, wow, we're both right. And if it's just unbelievable how that has become so true. So I just enjoyed the conversation, like you just said, Russ, enjoy the conversation, because I can learn from you and your truth and my truth, both being right at the same time. And then we can figure out how to make a better truth, in my opinion.
Yeah. We are so far from that, though. I mean, can you see it today? I mean, I think this is the first time, maybe I'm wrong, someone help me, but in the presidential that for real, the Democrats are hated, like bloodshed hated by the Republicans and vice versa. I don't think I've ever had that. So I have 6 children. When we were sitting down, 2 of my children walked out during dinner. That's not what I wanted. We were discussing, but because of their younger generation, no offense to them, they got offended and left instead of understanding that that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
We've become
it had
so
nothing
intolerant
to do
of
with
both
my
sides.
love. He goes, I can't believe that. Son, dude, I love you, man. I'll talk to you later. It's just so hard. But I love what you said. You talk about diversity and you talk about that. Something that you said that we didn't write down, and I got to try to remember, is that you said, I can agree that both of us are right. Dude.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, the younger
going to do that. Who does that? How many? Give me a percentage, Walt. Come on, give me a percentage.
Well, actually, nobody's doing it today. Everybody's picking sides. I mean, that's
How
that's
can we ever come back together if we're so picking sides? We're so intolerant. We're so intent on being right. How do we come together? And I'll say younger generation too. I see it in my nieces.
I have an answer.
Come on.
Go for it.
You join XXO today.
That's true, right? You start to have honest conversations in a safe space.
You get it out there.
I totally want to write the forward.
Well, we'll be introducing people into the
humanity, and realizing that there are other opinions. Everybody has one, and it may not necessarily be like yours. And acceptance.
I will say to you, I have 6 children. I have a 10-year-old all the way up to 27, who has a undergraduate degree from UNC. He's got dreads. He is who I worry about when he's driving around. He's smarter than most cops that are going to pull him over. He's gonna quote statute and what policy and what. I mean, oh my God, I worry about him. But let me just offer something. Because I had that same thing happen with me, Coach, about, us disagreeing about some things. But I'm going to tell you that in their defiance gives me hope. Because in their defiance is the acceptance that they're trying to have that we are still kind of messing with a little bit as the older generation said, no, it's this way or this way. And they're defying that to some degree, saying, okay, look, I get where you're coming from, Dad, but I really don't care because I'm going to go to the basketball court.
Right? Is that? Yeah. Is it really right? I mean, I'm going to show you that it ain't. And it's brilliant. And you're like, okay, what are you going to tell them? It's like, what are you going to say to them? You know, they got it. And they you know, it's just a very difficult situation with how to bring up or to raise your children now because people are intimidated or scared. You got to realize
that's why so many people, Coach, that's why so many people are searching for an answer. They're looking for a guide. They're looking for someone that can listen to their story and without judgment or measure and understand that we're not going to solve the problem. We don't even need to attempt to solve the problem. We just need to attempt to be heard and understood.
Come on, I got your sign. XXO.
I am listening. Well, I'm doing sign language. But yeah, you're right. This is like the younger generation, their voices, like they're using their voices. And again, don't want to stifle that. But
no.
Let's learn how to listen to each other too. You know, that's so important. Again, safe space, honest conversations, non-judgmental, curiosity, XXO. Come on.
Yeah, be the 5-year-old.
Who's going to be there for the conversations?
Be the 5-year-old and ask them why.
Hey, I want an XXO T-shirt.
Yeah.
Just XXO, nothing else.
How do we get the swag?
What you want to do is don't put anything else on that T-shirt, Jason, so it becomes a fire starter. XXO, what is that? Perfect. I'm glad you asked.
There you go.
That's it. Nothing else. Just XXO. XXO. All day. You know how many girls approach me? None.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for just joining us, and I'm wrapping up, and I'm going to go over to the other. We got another one coming up, but Russ, Nancy, Steve, Coach, thank you so much. And Coach, I'm assuming you're ex-military.
Man, that's another story that we may not want to get into.
All right, well, thank you for your service, Russ. Are you ex-military?
I am not.
Okay. Nancy, are you?
No, educator.
Steve, all right. Well, thank you for your service, Coach. With that, I'm going to sign off and go to the next one.
Take care, Walter.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Walter. I'm coming with you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Jason, as always, it's a pleasure, and we'll catch up again.
Thank you for creating this space, not only on your platform, but this 24-hour space that we're in. This is amazing.
Absolutely.
Maybe within the next 10 days, Jason, we'll catch up, man. You need to sleep for a bit.
Yeah,
get some sleep and then holler. And man, I got a lot of things to share with you because you're right on, bro. They're going to be oomphs. I promise you that. Okay. Hey, XXO. All right.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Go kick ass at your other one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, kids.
All right.
We're almost wrapped up. We got legitimately, I think we have 2 more minutes. But
2 more minutes.
Really? 2 minutes?
Yeah, we got 2 minutes.
I don't think anyone here knows how to talk for 2 minutes.
Hey, let me say this.
Been quiet for a while, Steve. Come on.
I'll spend 2 minutes. I can fill 2 minutes. Dave, earlier you were right on target in terms of our youth not being taught how to own things.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I want to add to that. I think our youth are not being taught how to respect.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And that, since my generation going on, I've seen situation after situation where people are just disrespecting others and believing that they're in the right to disrespect somebody. Yeah. And that just is now community wide in a way that we can't sit and talk and respect one another. We don't have to agree with each other, but we ought to at least be able to leave respecting one another.
Well, why can't we be curious about one another? I mean, we've had this conversation, for 2 hours now, being curious about one another and learning, right?
We need this brainwash and not the other brainwash. See, listen, we're all being brainwashed, right?
If I'm certain of who I am, then your opinion is not going to shake me to my core, right? I can listen to it. I can be curious about it, and it's not threatening to me.
Yeah, we don't have to be threatened by someone else's opinion.
No, I mean, it's yours. I have mine, and I know who I am, and I know what my values are. So I'm good. You're not gonna. It's not a house of cards. It's gonna come tumbling down because, I don't agree. You don't agree.
Yeah, and I'm comfortable with that.
I am too.
And I'm glad that we don't agree on everything, because that would be kind of boring.
How boring. Yeah, how utterly boring that
would be. It's like, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? I don't know.
And that's why the 49ers
we all starve to death because we can't decide.
So, but we have to disagree because he lives in Arizona. It's the same division, but that's okay. I don't like Arizona Cardinals, but I like Russ. Hey, Russ, we're talking about being a weatherman.
Hey, Dave, will you still like me? I'm a Chiefs fan.
Wait a second, Russ.
Bye,
Steve. Or are we just forcing something on you that isn't true? Are you like
I'm originally from Seattle, so.
Hey, that's worse.
I'm saying, I'm New York. I'm New York. Does it all make sense now?
Yeah. Wow. Hey guys, I don't know how. I think I've asked for a connection with Russ, Steve. I do. I want to find you.
Yes, please do.
Tremendous. I can use what you guys have. I know that I want to share more with what we do. We are global, so we're just having a really, really good time, and I need to get this into many people's hands because it's ready. It's our youth, our K through 5th grade program that is all about character development, activity books, and the teachers can push play and have an assembly right in their classroom. The homeschoolers can push play.
Sorry, more than ever. I mean, I'm on the other side of the screen with, kids all day, and man, what really enrages me is we're finally talking about their mental health. Like, when before were we so worried, about, wow, this disconnect is really causing depression and kids are, the rates of suicide are going up and the gap is growing. Like, really, we needed a pandemic to start realizing that this is the everyday experience of our youth. I mean, it's so much harder than when I was a kid. So much harder. But they are suffering, but they're always suffering. They're always struggling, not suffering. They're struggling. They're struggling all the time. And so, especially during this space, if we can bring a virtual program, if we can do a virtual speaking event, we're ready. And that people keep this idea in mind that, I've had, I don't remember who it was earlier who said, it might've been Chantal, who said that she attempted suicide at the age of 10. And I've worked in an elementary school, and man, does it piss me off to no end when, we identify a kid who seems at risk and someone who's old school and in administration goes, they're too young. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Or they just want attention. Well, you know what? Then let's give them some attention.
Yeah.
Why do we they just want attention. Let's dismiss it. Well, they want attention. Why don't we give it?
Yeah, we're building academics. We're forgetting about
the attention they need.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to build good humans. At the end of the day, my job is to build good humans.
That's right.
And we're all capable of that. I still don't know my times tables by heart, but I think I'm a pretty good human.
Yeah.
So, David, I put my link in the chat. You can click on it, and
I got you, buddy.
All right, good.
Are you,
Russ? Thank you so much.
Are you both connected with me?
Sorry.
You're both connected to me?
I don't know. I think I've asked it. I asked it.
You asked it?
I asked for a connect. So
So Nancy, I think you and I connected earlier today,
I
right?
think we connected earlier, yeah, through chat. And Russ,
So,
I think we are connected.
we'll,
And
we'll,
Coach,
we'll
I
get
have no idea
connected.
who
Listen,
you are, so it doesn't matter.
whatever I screw up, Nancy fixes. So that's the best. And if Nancy don't fix
Whatever
it,
you screw, whatever you quote unquote screw up, whatever you learn through, I learn through.
yeah. And so whatever, it's funny because I usually tell my wife something, and then that's my wife now writing. Yes, really. So that
Here, I'll put the red wig back on for you, Nancy.
You know what? I have enough estrogen and testosterone to hang anywhere. I'm good. I'm a chameleon. I'm totally comfortable.
Do you know what's weird, guys? Is you talk to your wife about something and you're sharing and you're close and you're holding, and then you get done talking about it, and then you wait an hour and a half, and then you go have a Zoom meeting with your director of operation, and she shares with you what you and your what is my wife telling you about me and why? It's so funny. That's what friends are. That's what they do. And so it's like, David, you need to be much nicer to you. I didn't do it. I promise. I apologized at 7:30 this morning.
It's intuition. It's intuition.
I have exactly something inside of me knows you got to go like nice on this one. Got to go make good. No,
Well, this has been a blast. This has been a blast. I have to tell you. And, you know, Steve, Coach, Nancy, you're all welcome to be on the Pirate Broadcast anytime. So
let's do it again.
Oh, I always love it, Russ.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time.
I'll show up whenever you'll have me, Russ. Honestly, this has been amazing.
I'll just send you a link and then you can pick it.
There you go. And maybe here every night.
Oh my God!
Hey Russ, if you need somebody for New Year's Day, I'll come back on New Year's Day, man.
There you go.
That's my anniversary. The most expensive day in the world. Don't have an anniversary on New Year's Day. My wife's like, let's go to New York. I said, that's $1 million. We're not going.
Hey, I told you earlier, the ring pop is more important than the diamond ring.
Okay, I'm going to let you know how that goes over. Here, honey. Happy anniversary. Nancy said it'd be fine.
I don't want things. I want experiences.
Steve, listen, Russ. My wife and I's 15th anniversary coming up. Can I go at her with a ring pop?
No.
Russ, I need some advice, buddy. Offering. She's telling me a ring pop.
I've been single longer than you've been married, so I can't.
David, what's her
knows what I'm gonna get her?
Hey, what's her love language? That's what you got to ask.
Making me dinner.
No.
See, I have to figure it out. You're right.
Yes, figure it out, because if it's quality time, it might be the vacation.
It's touch. It's listening. It's just
quality time,
just being present in some time. I'm really good at being a present, but most of the time the present's empty. Sorry, that's not funny.
No, but if presence isn't her love language, a ring pop is fine.
Ivan, dang it.
Renee,
Russ,
sorry, I didn't mean
delete. Russ, delete. You're killing me, Russ. Steve, I need your credit card.
Coach, here's the thing. I've been single, so maybe you don't take my advice, but what I would say is that I think I'm single because I'm overqualified for the job. I mean, this is just it's tough. It's tough out here being me.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, great night, guys.
Good night. Be well.
Good night.
Bye.